my boy blacked out one time a few years ago, and he
him or somebody else?
Him.
Oh, him.
And he called some girl he used to mess with to take him to a spot. Problem is he moved, so she took him all the way to Poway.
Oh fuck!
And he ended up waking up in a stranger's bed. The new person that lived there.
Oh shit!
And luckily it was the right person because they like took care of him. There was like water next to the bed and like a slice of bread or some shit. Yeah, probably. But I'm like, yo, that shit is wild that they let you in. I don't know how he got in or if they just like he got in somehow and they took care of him. But yeah, I was like, fam, you gotta chill on that brown.
He got touched by God on that one.
Yeah, you looking for me, you can find me at the spot. Chopping it up with Jonah, we talking about what's hot on the block. Up in Dago, man, we bumping. Keeping it confidential, you know this how we coming, we ain't friend. Looking for that real, better tune in and stick by. Put on for the city every time that I dip by. Get into that gritty every time that we sit down. Promise you it's real every time that I get real.
Welcome back, Barbershop Confidential podcast, your boy Jonah. Today we got the what is it? The ivory?
Ivory?
The ivory of
I've been called worse.
The you wasn't outside podcast. Last time I said he was Ebony. Ebony and Ivory.
That was his intro?
Yeah.
On paper it might look a little reverse, but you know.
Yeah, I fucked up. I was like, we got Ivory. I was like, oh fuck. He has ivory tendencies though, so it's
yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That hat is hard.
I appreciate it. Old school Supersonics.
Yeah.
I grew up a Sean Kemp fan.
Of course.
That was my man.
I mean, Gary Payton was hard to stop on NBA Jam.
Funny, in middle school was when they were both like really popping.
Yeah.
And this kid was bragging about his basketball card collection. Yeah, like all the shit. Jordan, Sean Kemp, whoever was popping, and me and some other guys
robbed them. Man, someone got me for my limited edition, or what do they call it? First edition. It was like a hologram Charizard cards from Pokemon.
Oh fuck! I know you mad right now.
Hella got me. I know how he did it now. It just took me a few years to get there. I was like, oh, he had like a special slit in like his binder, and he was like hella sleight of hand with it. I was like, yeah.
This guy just left them out in the locker room during PE, so we went in there, and everybody took like whoever took Jordan, whatever. I took Sean Kemp. Like he had like a good amount of Sean Kemps. And then
he ain't gonna miss this one.
He went missing. I mean, he noticed that they stole his shit. So he was asking all of us, hey yo man, you see my car? And the three of us who took him were like, nah, what? That's crazy.
While you guys are all wearing Supersonics jerseys and shit.
Like, what happened? That's crazy.
Have you ever seen that Mark Jackson card with the Menendez brothers in the background?
Yeah, in the background? That was hard.
Yeah, I wonder how much that shit worth right now.
Can't be that much, right?
I feel not now, but I feel like there's a certain point where all this shit, like vinyl's coming back. Like trading cards are gonna come back.
I mean, they already are.
Well, I don't know.
There's like a big market for them for like the new shit, like rookies of like Zion and Ja.
Zion's going for a lot right now.
Yeah, man.
Given his week,
it's off the court.
Hey man,
yeah,
it's hard.
How you been, man?
Man, why do the most petite women gotta have the biggest dogs in the world? I got attacked at lunch today on my walk. This girl's like 4'3". She weighed about 32 pounds. Had a big ass German Shepherd that wasn't like
tied up,
trained.
On a leash.
No, on a leash, but she can't hold this motherfucker.
That's true. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I'm just minding my business. Like, oh, if she has this dog, obviously he's cool.
Yeah.
Nah, he got a little sniff of whatever. Hella jumped on me.
Like attacked you? Or just got mad.
It wasn't. I mean, for what he looked like, it could have been worse.
Okay.
But maybe because his claws weren't clipped and he didn't have that fresh mani-pedi. Like I took a couple scratches.
Oh.
And was like.
No bites though.
Nah. But he barked hella in my ear, and so.
Oh, he got up that high.
That shit, when he went on his hind, he was like 7'6". I was like, yo, bro, why are you walking him outside?
Lakers need you.
Why are you outside walking this motherfucker?
Got Air Bud out here.
You know this ain't the first time. You know he gonna act like this.
They should like say like not friendly or some shit like that.
Yeah, for some, you see me coming. She see me coming from.
You guys coming from like
away.
Opposite direction?
Yeah, it's not like I walked up behind him and he was like, "Oh shit, stranger."
Oh,
nah, he eyed me and he played it cool until I got close enough. That's the thing. He's smarter than he looked.
You know, he's done that before.
Exactly.
Like if I bark first.
That's why I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at her. Like, you know, you shouldn't own this motherfucker. Where you do that? Let him make the walk.
You think she was of age? Was she like a child?
Oh yeah, she was definitely no. Oh, she was of age. Yeah, she I
had a lady open the door and the dog was already barking. I was kind of hesitant for work, and then she opened the door thinking she'll tell him to chill out. Nah, the dog came rushing towards me. And I have a clipboard in my hand, so I put the clipboard in front. I was like, "Yo, friendly?" And she's like, "I don't know."
Yo,
how do you not know your dog is friendly or not? She said,
"How your dog get kicked in the face by those who are ready."
I was about to kick the fucker. She's like, "I just adopted him 2 days ago." I was like, "All right." They don't be adopting like aggressive dogs, so I'm a hope he's, you know, friendly. He just started sniffing, but he was barking real aggressive before that. So
I just feel like if you're gonna adopt a dog, even if you get him as a puppy, if you like 4'6" and you ain't got no type, like you gotta go through some sort of, like, I know how big this dog about to get.
Yeah.
So I gotta know who's in the house, who's available to walk this dog beside you.
Yeah.
Because this motherfucker gonna be crazy.
The dog was walking her.
Exactly. Yeah. At a certain point.
It's crazy when I see that shit all the time. Like big ass dogs, like even kids. I'm like, that dog wanted to just fucking pull her and fucking drag her across the street and shit.
We had a dog when I was growing up in the cul-de-sac. We had a dog that was just like the beast from Sandlot.
Oh, big ass shit.
Yeah, his name was Damien.
Of course.
And like,
I am a boy, Damien.
No, like DMX Damien.
Oh, that kind of Damien.
Yeah, I had a dog. I had a dog when I was super little, and Damien like killed him.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he bit like 3 holes all up in his face. We had to put him down. I was like 3. I remember that shit.
That's traumatizing.
Because Damien used to take all our tennis balls when we were playing baseball or whatever. And I was like, damn, man, you be fucking this shit up. It was just like the Sandlot. I just remember like, yeah, he gonna get his one day.
Did it?
I don't remember. I mean, he gone now because that was in the 90s.
So he did.
Eventually. Maybe he lived a good life, but
maybe he got hit by a car or some shit.
Yeah, shout out to Damien.
Rest easy, David. I felt like that with like bullies growing up. We had this one kid. He was a kid, but he was bigger than everybody, and he would just grab kids' skateboards and snap them in half, and nobody could do nothing because he was just big as fuck, right?
Yeah, to snap like a solid skateboard in half. That'd take a little bit of oomph.
No, he's a big boy. And then one day, I remember it was real quiet, and his mom was like sobbing. Somebody shot him in the car, like walked up and shot him in the head.
Oh,
nobody was sad.
Damn.
Nobody was sad. We saw his mom cry. We felt bad for her, but it was like, fuck him. That's what he gets, man.
He's bullying like that?
Yeah,
he bullied you?
Yeah, I was little though. I was young. He grabbed my cousin's skateboard who lived in Mexico City. He was visiting. He grabbed it and snapped it in half. My cousin probably weighed 80 pounds at the time. This guy was probably easy like in the 250, 260. He was a big boy. And he would just go around bullying kids and shit. We were little. And when he got shot, I remember sitting at my staircase. I was like, man, fuck him. I'm glad they shot him. I mean, it sucks for his mom because she was in pain, but the apartments felt a lot nicer after he died. Rest easy, though. Looking back at it, my bad, bro.
I never really got bullied outside of like random people that used to make fun of like my overbite. I would say I wouldn't even classify it bullying, but it was probably a little bit more than usual. But that's probably because he thought I was pressing up on his girl back in the time. But when we got
like
older, this was like middle school.
Oh, middle school.
But then after high school, he got arrested in Mexico and he did like some real time down there. And like, it was like a thing for like, I don't even know how many years it was. And even then I was like, yeah, even I ain't hold no animosity towards him like that to be like, nobody said if he got poked in the fucking.
I'm telling you, nobody liked this guy, man.
Damn.
Nobody liked him. And I was probably like, my cousin was probably young too. So I was probably like 7 or 8 and he was in high school.
Oh, it was a high school picking on 7 or 8 year olds?
Yeah, like he was just a dick, bro. So when
he's probably gonna die.
Yeah, he got shot in the head. Everybody was like, well, shouldn't have been fucking with people and shit.
I wonder if he got shot by somebody he was fucking with.
Probably he was in gang, so.
Oh, and he was in a gang?
Yeah, he was in a gang. Yeah.
He was like a legit gang member fucking with kids like that?
Yeah, he was just a fucking dick, bro. And his little brother who was our age thought because, you know, his big brother was who he was, that he could fuck with us and nobody would do nothing to him because of his big brother. But once his brother died, he got real quiet.
Wait, how old was he when he died?
The kid? He was like...
The brother.
The older one?
Yeah.
16, 17?
Oh, so you were still little when he
died? I was little. I was like a little kid. Yeah.
It wasn't like this happened later in life. Like, oh yeah, finally.
No.
You guys were in the middle of the bullshit. That's why you were like, hey, all right, get the fuck out of here, bro.
That's why everybody was like, well, fuck him. Who gives a shit about him? Yeah.
Damn.
We had this other dude. He was a cholo, but I think he was like Puerto Rican or Panamanian. He was like one of those like Afro Latino ones, and he was a bully too. Like he would pick on little kids, but if you were around your parents, he was the most respectful human being
smart about it.
Ever, man. And we would just be like, what the? Around us, he's like pushing us, shoving us, taking our shit. Around our parents, he was like so polite to them and shit like that.
All right.
It was the weirdest shit ever.
No, it sounds like the smartest shit ever.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be a bully, then you got to... All the kids run and tell their parents, like, it couldn't be him. He helped me with my groceries the other day.
He would. He'd be like, he'd drop whatever he's doing to go help our parents with like their groceries and shit.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
if you ever had some like real fly shit he really wanted to come up on, he knew that he could do that, but like they're never gonna believe him.
Yeah, they're gonna think you're lying or you lost it or some shit.
If you got like an extra few dollars at the ice cream man, like, nah, run me my Pepsi or whatever.
One of my cousins had a kid young. And you know, I don't know if you ever noticed, but like when people have kids really young, they don't really know how to raise them right. So their kids usually.
If I've ever noticed that, I've noticed that half of my high school class was pregnant before graduating.
Well, those kids usually come out like pretty undisciplined, right? Because the parents don't even know what the fuck they're doing. So my cousin had a kid young, and this little boy was just like annoying as fuck. And he would always try to, when I'd go visit in Mexico, he's like, "Come on, wrestle with me, uncle, wrestle with me." And I was like, "Stop." One day I got him in the headlock. I got him good. And he started crying like a little bitch. And so he ran and told my cousin, "Oh, my uncle, he choked me. And she came out. She's like, "You choked myself?" I was like, "Cousin, you think I'm going to fucking sit around here and choke a little boy?" And she's like, "You right." And she started yelling at him. And I was like, "Yeah, that's what you get."
Fucking liar. Pinche mentiroso.
Yeah, she went in on him. I was just in the background like, yup.
The brave kid, though. I mean, you wouldn't be the first person I'd be like, "Hey, you want to wrestle real quick?"
I think he just thought I wouldn't do nothing to him, and it backfired on him. I didn't like him. Now it's
Fuck
cool.
you, nephew.
Yeah. Now he's like almost as tall as me, so I was like, I still gonna get him in the headlock.
Yeah, that's what you gotta watch. Well, yeah, because you also got, if you can establish that dominance early, it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
When I was younger, my mom used to be like, "Your brother one day he gonna grow up and be bigger than you."
Are you the oldest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, man, fuck that. Even if the only motivation I ever have in life to stay active is to make sure I can always put him in his place, I'm gonna do that. But I never really bullied him. Like, I never beat him up. Like, I never punched him. I might have open handed him a couple times, pushed him around a little bit, but I ain't never really done nothing crazy like that. Then, like, some years later, it's had to be at least 10 years ago, we was at our cousin's house in Riverside. It was a niece's birthday. And at this point, yeah, he's maybe an inch or two shorter than me, but he's, he looked like Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, stocky.
And he was like, he wanted to like grapple and shit. And I was like, all right, I see what he's trying to do. He had a couple Heinekens in him.
Trying to get that get back from.
He had a couple Heinekens in him. I almost had him over the second story window like Suge Knight. And he broke his big toe.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I was really into UFC at the time. So I was like, all right, even though he's bigger than me, I got like this fake jujitsu that I got inside of me right now.
Since you watch it all the time, you're
a black belt. I
belt.
was good to go.
Yeah.
And I wasn't drunk. So yeah, he
broke his toe, huh?
He broke his toe. He was like, don't blame that shit on me. You tried to charge me. I had you almost go through the window, stopped it, and your big toe just happened to hit the wall on the way there. If anything, hey, thank you for not letting me fall out that window.
And die. Yeah. But now he's like, he'll think twice about it.
I don't know.
Nah? You have to find out when Thanksgiving.
I know. I'm kind of estranged from my family.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. No, it's not even.
I want to joke about that.
We've never been close anyway.
Oh, okay.
Because we're two completely opposite people.
So he's like regular white?
He is. He has the ivory tendencies that Carl got. Right? Same one. Play baseball. Probably likes the golf.
Probably like
fishing and shit.
Wears Birkenstocks.
But nah, it's a maybe for an extended episode story. It's a longer story, but we just ain't.
I think you talked about it once on the other one on yours, right? About something about like money or some shit.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it, but that's not why but I've gotten past that point. Like to the point where we're estranged now because more of like a me and my mom situation.
Gotcha.
I don't say he chose up because like it's his mother, but it's just kind of a
picked a side.
It was weird because he knows who she is, and so instead of like asking me for my side of the story and being like, well,
he just believed her.
He just kind of did whatever and then kind of fell back, and I just kind of, my plate is always full, like claim jumper size plate full. So like I don't need to be as if certain people fall off in my life, like I'm not really tripping because I don't even really have a lot of time in my life to keep up with the people who I got, you know what I mean? So if it's a little too toxic for me in my life and you fall off, like I'm not gonna be all like super butthurt about it. Like I don't wish no ill will on nobody, but and if you want to have conversations, like I'm still open to it. I'm just not rushing to do it. And yeah, I be thinking about like, man, well, if something were to happen tomorrow and you feel bad you ain't getting nothing off your chest, like I get it. But I can also like sleep peacefully that I've done my part at other times towards like, hey, sometimes you just can't force shit. Just because you family don't mean you're meant to be cool.
Yeah, I say that. I think that shit all the time. Like just because we fam don't mean we cool like that. Like I had I think it was a cousin die, and I had posted like on, how sometimes if you post on Instagram, it'll go to Facebook. I don't know if you know that. Like you'll sync, if you sync it, it'll do both.
Okay, yeah.
So I posted that I went out, and my mom sent me a message like, "Yo, your cousin just died. You can't
go out right now.
You can't be posting that you went out and you were having fun.
No one's allowed to have fun right now.
While the family is mourning." I was like, "Yeah, he was my cousin, but I didn't fuck with him like that." Like, and he's not looking at Facebook, talking like, "Oh,
he's not looking at Facebook.
As fuck." Out here partying when I'm dead, and I ain't gonna stop my life just because. Just because they're.
Did you
family.
Go out and party and have fun like the night of?
Nah, I just posted. Like I didn't even know. She ended up telling me like.
Oh, after you posted?
Yeah. I was like, man, if I didn't even know about it,
that's what I'm saying.
It's not that deep.
People got these random rules that they expect people to follow. Like, how am I supposed to know this?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I wasn't given the fucking the book.
and she probably saw it on Facebook because she's.
Older.
Adult. It's like, I don't even care about this platform like that. I just happened to get there. Yeah. My bad.
That's exactly what I was like. I guess I don't care. Like, it's not even that big of a deal. But yeah, I don't like that whole like, oh, that's family. I was like, so what? Like, my mom don't like that I'm not cool with my dad's side of the family. Because when he died, they were nowhere to be seen. And so to this day, like, I hold resentment towards that. So it's fuck them. Fuck them to the day I die.
And she got a reason that's how you feel. I mean.
And she'll try to convince me like, no, that's family. It's like, fuck them. They weren't even around. Like, I don't know them. They're strangers to me.
You can't force nothing, and it can't be one-sided. We made this joke last time we were here about me not knowing my dad. I just recently got in contact with this dude, right? And it's like, all right, well, I'm not about to force nothing, and I can see similar tendencies of him and me as far as like his laid-back approach, where he doesn't take a lot of things too serious. Like he didn't like call me on the phone and say, "Hey, this is your dad." He was like, "Yo, my name's Steve." So he had no expectations.
Oh.
And I'm at the place in my life where I've hit a level of maturity and just a level of clarity. Like, oh, if I was 16 and I'm like, oh, dude, you walked out on my mom and you left me and blah blah blah. This misplaced anger, whatever it was. Not that I had it like that, because I come from an environment where if you have both your parents, you're considered spoiled, right? So I didn't look at it as abnormal if you only had mom in the house,
right?
So my mom swears to this day like it's like affects me, like I just wake up sweating at night because I didn't have no dad,
fucking cold sweat,
and I'm like, yo, I promise you, I rarely thought about this dude, like promise you.
She's like, no, you're just holding back your feelings.
But yeah, it just the funny part is where I'm at in my relationship with my mom. The very first conversation I had with my father, I was like, all right, I'm sure he's hella anxious. He thinks I'm probably going to come at him like, and I was like, yo, knowing who my mom is, you kind of dodged a bullet there, didn't you, bro?
I was just gonna say, you probably like, I get it, bro. I ain't even mad at you.
Exactly the tone I had. I was like, hey man, I totally understand. Like I lived in that house with her too.
Yeah.
And
I would have left too.
And he kind of halfway giggled. He's like, oh, it's probably not appropriate, but like, okay, at least it gets me. And then, yeah, like I check up on him like on a weekly basis. And obviously we're two different people. He's like a almost 70-year-old white dude from fucking Brooklyn. You know, I'm raised out here.
I just know like the accent.
Hella.
Like, that's what's up.
Yeah, super heavy.
Is it Italian? Just like a regular white dude?
Nah, it's fucking no, we're Irish.
Oh, okay.
But it's like hella New York, like what you doing? Get out! Like, oh, I guess that is not Italian, but you know that New York shit.
Yeah,
like, get out of my way. But
fuck you talk about?
Yeah, just
that's dope. That's good that you got to be able to connect.
No, yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. It was the timing was right, and obviously it might have been right some years before that, but it happened when it happened. We're cool, and yeah. So we're just right now. It's been about like a year and some change. We're just kind of laying like a foundation of like a friendship.
That's
like,
what's up.
Cool. Even though I can't say this because we don't know each other like that, but like on like a lot of the surface level shit, we don't have like a ton in common.
Two different lifestyles. I mean,
yeah. Because so like.
Oh yeah, I do. You don't really like your mom that much.
So like football season, we're good to go. You know what I mean? But then like right now, he's one of those. I'm gonna watch every single Yankee game, and I was like, sure.
You don't fuck with baseball like that?
Nah. I can go to a baseball game and get through it. Not like a ton of them, but like watching that shit on TV, that just sounds like
torture.
You literally have zero left to do.
Your day is completely.
I don't care if they got the pitch clock now or not, and it's sped up by another 45 minutes or whatever.
Like, there's not one single dish.
Nah, man, I'm not.
Trash should be taken out. Everything's done for you to sit there and watch.
I got
baseball.
too much to do, and this was before I became a father.
Yeah.
And now it's actually last postseason was the most baseball I've ever watched in one like 2 week span of my life because the kids were at school. They kept talking about Padres, and like, oh, can we watch the Padres? And I'm like, fuck, all right, here, let's go. And then, when it comes to baseball, sure, when the city's happy, it's like, it was kind of live last postseason for a while. And so they were having fun, but I wasn't sitting there like, all right, man, y'all better be this excited, during basketball playoffs next year.
Hey, now that you were talking about that, like kids growing up with both parents being a privilege, I was thinking as you were talking about like my closest friends growing up didn't have a dad.
Yeah,
I think
we're from a generation where that's a normal thing.
But at least in also our
areas,
economical areas and shit. Where
that's
what
I'm saying.
Not the best.
I don't want to say it's normal. It's normal in our areas.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
I think our generation, as we turn into parents, I think we're doing a I don't want to say way better job because shit happens, but like we're at least on the I'm not talking about moms, obviously, but on the father's side, I think there's a higher percentage of like present.
More effort.
Yeah. And I think it comes from, we're like, okay, I don't want to repeat the cycle type shit.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, still happens. It's always going to still happen to a certain degree. But I think our generation as parents is a lot more mindful of it.
Speaking of the NBA playoffs, did you watch that?
Of course I did. It's the only time I get to watch NBA, man. I build like this credit in my household.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm a big sacrifice guy. So
okay.
I'll do, whatever. I'll do anything and everything for my family. And one of those things is during the season, inside the NBA, and a couple of Sports Center highlights, I'm not really keeping up game to game. And maybe if it's like a big Laker game on, I'll like, all right, let's turn this on. But otherwise, I'm just focused on family shit, right? And I do that because it's like, hey, that goes from October to April. Once April hits, I need about 7-8 weeks where I'm watching, and especially the first like two or three
playoffs.
Those first 2-3 weeks when there's like 2-3 games on a day, every day. I'm like, hey, I might not be able to watch every game in its totality, but I'm a try to. So yeah, we might have to skip the park one time or come home a little early from something because that's what I'm trying to do, and y'all can do that.
That's dope.
And it's different because basketball is on every night. So it's like football season's different. It's like Sunday.
It's just one day.
Leave me alone for a few hours,
Monday night.
I'll flip back and forth unless the Steelers are playing. And it's like, yeah, so it's a good little balance. my kids are really into soccer right now, and so I'm assuming now we just got that soccer team.
Yeah.
No, not like they never watched the game. They watch YouTube highlights and shit. So I feel like if they watch,
they only see the exciting.
If they watch a real game, they were like, "Wait a minute, what's going on? Why is the score?" They haven't
scored in 45 minutes.
Exactly.
What the fuck is going on?
I just feel like, damn, now all of a sudden we got an MLS team. Well, eventually, like coming real quick. Now I gotta like spend money to go to that, and I'm not a soccer dude either.
I thought we already had a team, the San Diego Sockers or some shit, and then there was the Loyal. All these teams are not. I thought they were MLS the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Soccer's not mine. I only get into it during the World Cup.
Which is weird. I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's the area I'm in or if just America's becoming a little more fascinated with soccer. Because I'm like, I never knew a whole bunch of people growing up that were like that into soccer like that.
I think it's the World Cup. When the World Cup comes on, it's like everybody's a soccer fan. Like my girl walked by me like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, Mexico versus
but
whatever.
they've sustained the enthusiasm.
Oh shit!
And they play it, and like they do the. I got them on the not a travel team, but like the neighborhood. I guess it's more like a camp now, but he's like in the league, like a little rec league type of thing, or he was.
He's about to get like mad busy because my boy does that for his daughter.
Oh, he's not consistent in it. Like we did it for a while, and then we had to stop because we got too busy, and then we put it back in for like one session. And I'm like, he's not even really getting a whole bunch out of this. So it's gonna be based on scheduling, obviously. He did a couple basketball camps, and it's like,
has he found any of the sports that he really likes?
I think soccer is the one. He'll still play basketball. My oldest, he'll try anything, but like that's what he kind of leans towards, right? The youngest, he's bred to be a beast. Like he's 99 percentile everything.
The younger one.
He's like 6 inches taller than anybody in his preschool.
Damn.
Like he weighs more than his older brother. Like all that. Problem is,
that's the retirement right there.
Well, that's the thing. He has the potential to be good and all that stuff, but he's not there for the social team aspect. He wants to do individual shit.
He might be like a UFC fighter then or some shit.
I don't know if I want you like on the verge of... No, I don't know about that. I know UFC seems a little more safe than like boxing because they're more like, it's more of an art.
Pick a poison.
And but...
Shit, because growing up, football was the only thing I cared about. My teachers used to tell my mom and my dad, your son is obsessed. Like, you need to take him to see somebody. Like, everything he relates to football. Math problems, English problems. Like, everything was like 49er football shit.
And that was a bad thing because you found analogy to relate to your
teachers,
schoolwork?
Yeah, they thought it was an issue. They would like talk to my mom like, you need to seek help because...
So if you were able to get better at math or whatever you're doing by relating it to football, the fact that it was working was still an issue to them because...
Probably because of the ego thing, like, it's not my way. But yeah, they would always like tell my mom, my bad, that I had an issue, that I had a problem, like a real problem. So, but my mom, she's not from me. She's immigrant. She probably didn't even understand what they were telling her.
She just thought, oh, it's a problem, so...
Yeah, let me go home and yell at them.
You getting in trouble in school? I got a fucking A.
She's like, nah. Your teacher wouldn't call us in for an A. What you think in the finals? Were you going for Denver?
Nah.
You're going for Miami? Me too. I wanted Jimmy to get in.
Yeah, I feel like Jimmy's for the culture, right? It was like, and then just the way his performance was the whole playoffs, it was like, all right.
That's Michael Jordan's
we're all going for Jimmy, right? So I wouldn't go that far. But it's just like he got that want to, and his play reminds you of a play that's not really around anymore. Like he's not soft. And so I just think his ankle was way more beat up than
what he let on.
It was let on for the whole series. And I mean, not that I cared that Denver won, because I was as soon as that part was over, because I was really like, oh shit. Once the Lakers drew Memphis, I saw a path, and I was like, oh, we're not supposed to win this year, but I can see some shit lining up, and we might have it.
But then, Denver came and swept.
But yeah, once Denver won, and that happens a lot in basketball, the conference finals are more of like the finals than the actual finals because it's usually pretty clear.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. I mean, game 2 was fun. And even this game 5 was fun until the very end. But I mean, it didn't matter how much I wanted Jimmy to win. Going into this series, I was just like, no, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
And
I'm surprised they got one off. Kind of like when the Sixers played the Lakers in the finals.
That pissed me off because that was the only game we lost in the whole playoffs.
I was hyped.
I just watched.
I was an Iverson fan.
Did you see? They had a special on him recently.
Yeah,
Everything But the Chip.
Yeah,
with him and Larry Brown.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, Larry Brown. They deserve that one.
They deserve what?
That shit.
What you mean?
That was
the most dominant Laker. That was the most dominant team in history.
I didn't like Kobe at the time.
I don't care what you didn't like. I'm talking. What you mean? They deserved it.
In my eyes, they deserved it.
They had the Coach of the Year, the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, the Sixth Man of the Year, but they ran into Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, in their prime. Was that their first?
That was the second. The first was against the Pacers.
Oh yeah. When they lost to the Pistons.
We don't talk about that.
I was rooting for the Pistons.
Yeah, I know.
I was happy.
Handful of people that was happy.
I was a Laker hater. I'm still not. I'm not a Laker fan. I'm not a hater either anymore. But I never liked them.
That's fine. Oh, you know what? We can transition to something you don't like that I've been meaning to talk to you about. This.
Is it music?
Ice Cube. I gotta hear this, man.
I just don't like Ice Cube, man.
That's not a good enough answer for me. I'm gonna need something. It could be something that has nothing to do with music, and maybe it turns you. I need something where I can logically get there with you.
You probably won't because you like Ice Cube. Yeah.
I won't, but I can also be objective and try to be logical. To be like, all right, I don't agree, but I guess.
I think they just hung on to. I think it happens to like every rapper, right? Unless there's the exceptions to the rules, like Jay-Z and shit like that. But there's rappers that just at some point in their career just no longer have anything to rap about that's good anymore. So they resort to like trying to rap about shit that from the past, and it's like, you don't live that lifestyle no more. You already said what you had to say about that. You're done. You can't do that no more. It's like when Snoop would come out like album after. I was like, you're like, I'm not saying they're washed, but there's nothing for them to rap. They can't talk about struggle anymore because they're fucking rich as shit. So with Ice Cube, it was just that. I was just like, what are you? Some of these songs that he put together in his later career, I was just like, these lyrics are ass, bro. You went from no Vaseline to this.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding. When I first heard you say this, I took it as you never liked Ice Cube.
No.
That's why I was so mind blown. Like, yo, what the fuck is going on here?
Bow Down was one of my favorite songs. West Side Connection was like one of my favorite albums. Like
Bow Down was the first rap album I ever owned.
It's a good one too, like a 100%. Really good one. So, like up to that point,
that's probably the last one.
That's what I'm saying. Like once you got to there, and then anything after that was like,
okay, that's
when
fair.
He was like making like little kid shit kind of raps, and it's like, you're just putting words that sound similar to each other now. Like you're not even saying nothing no more. That's what I meant. Like
there's a couple. I just
don't like him now.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. He's been around for 35 years.
Yeah.
I just when I heard it that night, all I heard you say was, "Nah, I don't even fuck with Ice Cube," and I took that as from fucking 86,
from 86
here, and I'm like, wait a minute. There's something wrong with this individual.
That's like the game. Like when he came out, he was hot shit. Like from the West Coast, we haven't had nothing from the West Coast in a long ass time. I fucked with the game heavy, and then like after a while, it's just like you're turning into the dudes that you rapped about. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like you have nothing to rap about no more. That's why I think rap careers usually have like
the only thing about what I say is you say, oh, you're trying to rap about your past still. But then you also bring up Jay-Z, who also does that. But I'm going to give you the slack because Jay-Z does it better.
I said there's exceptions to the rule.
Because Cube, as good as he was with substance, he's not the most technically sound rapper. So when you put that together, it's like, all right. And I get it. He's had a couple, string of tracks on a couple albums post Bow Down where I'm like, all right, yeah, this one's fine. I can put together a really good compilation post 97. But yeah, for the most part, it's like, oh, he's not really, because, and that's the thing too, right? Because the reason he's looked at as such a significant fall off is because from 96 to from when he started, it was so high caliber that you're just like, damn, what the fuck happened? Like Hollywood really fucked you up like that?
It really did though.
And that's like, you know, you brought up Snoop.
Oh shit.
The problem with Snoop is I don't agree with Snoop in that same vein because Snoop, he might give you a couple fillers and bullshit, but then he'll come back and he still has something.
I feel like they're really good in features. But if you ask them to put a whole song together, they ain't got it no more.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that with Snoop.
I haven't heard nothing from Snoop that I was like, I need to get this album, or I'm gonna hear this whole from start to finish out. Like, when was the last album that
we can address this after? But off the top, he's had recent stuff where I was like, all right. I mean, it's not Doggy Style, but like I really enjoyed this album.
And
maybe I might be in the minority of it, but it's like I feel like objectively rating Snoop, I know when I'm like, all right, Snoop, this one ain't for me. Yeah. So if I'm like,
hey, when he did his whole reggae thing,
when I'm like, hey, you know what, this ain't half bad. You know, he did an album with the Mechanics, some Bay Area producers, and they got a really consistent sound. And I think it sounded really good with him. And that was like not even a couple years ago. Yeah, but I'm hesitant to say this just given my allegiance because I know I've been let down so many times over so many years. The Doggy Style sequel is supposed to come out later this year.
Yeah, and so is what is it? The Detox.
No, this is different. This is different. I'm a little hesitant. I'm not a big fan of the name of the album.
The what? The Doggy Style 2?
No, it's called Missionary.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, you think I just made that shit up?
It sounds like a joke.
I wish it was.
It sounds like a dad joke.
No, exactly. That's why I was like, oh, okay, they're fucking with me, right?
Yeah.
But then I kept seeing it. And I'm like, all right.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Look, if it's fire, I don't give a fuck what it's called. Because then I get, you know, there's these little leaks like, oh, this is the most enthusiastic Dre's been about music since The Chronic. And I'm like, was he not enthusiastic about Doggy Style? Was he not enthusiastic about Chronic 2001? Maybe not as enthusiastic as The Chronic, so maybe. But the thing is, since 2005, I've lived with that Detox like excitement, and it's like the dad that goes away. He's like, I'm gonna come pick you up on the weekend and just never
comes back. I'm sitting here like Will Smith. Why don't you?
So I have this thing hanging up on my wall right now, and it's you ever had a CD booklet?
Yeah, I still have one.
And so at a CD booklet, I used to take the CDs out the case and the cover book art, and I'd put it in there, right? And I used to have it nice and organized by coast and by artist and chronological order. When you get to the Dr. Dre one, and it sucked too, right? Because if I had something at the very beginning of the book and they came out with a new album, I had to shift everything over one, right?
I'm the same way.
And so for the Dr. Dre section, I had an empty slot.
Waiting for the Detox?
But not just an empty slot. I had folded up a napkin and I had wrote reserved for Detox, right? And I put 2006.
That's when, like,
it started like 05-ish, but like I was like, by the time I did that, it was already 06.
Oh.
And then if you look at it, it's framed on my wall now, the napkin.
The little napkin?
The napkin is. And if you see it now, 2006 is like in bigger font. And then underneath it says 07, 08, 09, and they're all scratched out. And then I think I gave up like 2010 or something. Or no, 11. When 2010, 11, he came out with a few singles. We're like, oh, maybe this is it now. And then it stopped.
Didn't he do
and then once he did Compton,
I was
like, all right, this is not Detox, but it's something else. And I really enjoyed it. It's not Detox. So
I feel the same way about Dr. Dre. When that came out, I was like, damn, I know you got to keep up with like
Compton's hard. Don't do that.
No, it's hard. But I had this expectation of something similar to
because the
Chronic
sound,
2001.
The sound changed so much.
It did
from when he started.
You like anything, any artist is gonna evolve with time, right? But I still wanted 2001 a sound.
Look, so I did,
which I think is one of the best 100%. Albums ever.
Anybody of your audience that listens to our show too, they know I recently did mushrooms for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's what.
And part of my trip, I had this like super urge to listen to Chronic 2001. because, and I think it's widely known, at least in that industry, that's like, that's a go-to album when you want to hear how things are supposed to sound, like engineering wise and everything. Cause it's like, this was 1999 and there's shit right now that doesn't compete with it.
Nah, yeah.
Even though all this new technology exists. And so, yeah, I was like, man, this shit sound better than ever. And it's
did you do it?
It's coming coming out of the cell phone speaker. It's not even like in a car or whatever. It was just like, oh yeah. Sounds great.
I remember when the Source magazine gave them like 2 stars.
2 for 2001?
2 or 3 stars.
Nah, 2.
We're gonna have to look it up, but it was not 5, and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't 5.
It wasn't 4 either. It was low, because then they came out years later to redo a review on albums, and they give Chronic.
We're not
5.
tripping no more. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, back then, people now, I'll give them more slack because everything is so right now. They're trying, the shit came out 45 minutes ago and they're trying to write a review on it.
Yeah.
But the magazine people, they used to get that shit a few months in advance. So they had a little time to sit with it. But yeah, but I'm also one of those guys.
Stars or some shit.
I'm one of those guys that I think the word classic is thrown around way too loosely. And so like calling something a classic when it's been like a month is kind of crazy to me.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But that's kind of the norm now. And this is something I yell at Ivory or Ebony right now, because he likes to do that shit, and I'm like, dude,
Ebony with Ivory tendencies.
It's like I can hear on first listen, I can definitely like, this got the potential if whatever, but I just think there's so many factors, and obviously everybody has their own criteria. But I like to wait at least 5 years.
That's a long, yeah. It's fair.
It's not. It does.
You still want to listen to it after.
There
5
doesn't
years.
have to be a whole bunch of classics. Like classic is a term that is reserved for that caliber of album. An album can be very good and very close to classic. It doesn't have to be a classic. And then you as an individual can have your own personal classics. Like, hey, you know what? This may not have had the impact. Like, mainstream might not have sold a lot, might not have did this and that, but to me this shit is flawless. I got plenty of those albums, and that's usually where I stash them. And then once time goes, I'm like, hey, you know what, this might be one of them. But that doesn't happen very often,
and it doesn't happen immediately.
But for a lot of people, they're just like, no, there's way more classics than. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that, and it doesn't have to. But people are so quick. I just need to say it. I got to get my opinion out. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, you got to wait for the consensus.
Back then it mattered. The Source magazine was...
No, it mattered.
Was like the Bible of hip hop in those days.
Yeah, but we just gave a very critical example of how they be getting shit wrong.
Big time.
Based on their allegiances, right?
Also, too, that because they would pick sides, like the whole East Coast, West Coast shit. So... Well,
yeah. And
they were biased.
Exactly. And you can't, and we see a lot of these popular lists that kind of go through, get a little viral. Those are most likely East Coast bias too, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't take any list that serious, like, because of who I am. Yeah. If you want to argue about it, I got time for that. But no, everybody got lists. I mean, shit, I got lists, and it's just, yeah, sometimes it's just fun to argue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is Barbershop. This is what we do. But yeah, I like to be objective and just step back. Like, all right, they might have an East Coast bias, so I understand it. But yeah, you're wrong. But you're not wrong because it's yours.
I saw Ice Cube kind of like Eminem now. Can you really tell me like his recent work is like shit you would expect from him?
The most recent work, yes.
No, like more like. Let's be honest. After what, Encore?
Okay, if you want me to talk as a recovering stan, I can do that.
Okay.
So
after Encore was it?
Yeah, you're right.
After Encore, everything is kind of like took a dive.
The height of heights for like a 4 or 5 year run. Like, it's hard to touch. Encore, that's where you're like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? Now the first half of the album, no, yeah, my cousin Mark, he told me, because back then, we were all big into bootlegs and shit like that. But certain artists and certain albums, I'm like, because I always purchase my music too. I'm like, yo, I'm not going to listen early. Don't tell me about it. Don't say shit to me. I'm going to go buy it. And he told me, he was like, yo, I'm not going to lie.
Don't waste your money.
If you listen from track 15 on and then restart it to like 1 through 6 and then cut out the whole 7 through 14, it's not bad. But coming off of his last work, I'm like,
you're high.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Man, I put that in and was like, what the fuck is going on?
That's what I'm saying. It's like every rapper.
I mean, in hindsight, when you realize how bad the drug problem had gotten at that point and just the exhaustion of all that other stuff, it made sense. And then like moving forward, he disappeared for a while. And when he comes back with Relapse, yes, I was just as annoyed at all the accents as everybody else was. But man, if Dr. Dre didn't put his foot in that album, production wise, because Dr. Dre, his production always was a little different when it comes to Eminem. Because Eminem isn't like a let me put a little West Coast whistle on this shit, and he don't do that. So it was always changed a little bit. But with Relapse, that shit bang. But once you get over the accent and just focus on the instrumentals and then you realize, okay, he's flushing drugs out. He's trying to learn how to rap again. Recovery, probably his most successful effort post that.
I thought Kamikaze was pretty good.
Recovery had bigger singles. It had like, he was switching up with producers. Got into that phase where he was like the white Meek Mill and he was fucking screaming on everything. Now on certain beats, it worked. But after a while, I was like, dude, calm the fuck down. Where's this? Like, I understand you got this angry persona and all that. And then the one that really hit, like Marshall Mathers LP 2, I was like, you don't put sequels out of classic albums. Like, you got to stop. I don't want anybody to do it. That one did whatever. And I'm like, all right, get out of here. And then Revival came out and I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, well, at this point, I can't expect too much more because I know who he is as a person. He don't be outside. He's one of those people following in the category like, what the fuck are you going to rap about? You're still angry. You're still mad about being famous and blah, blah, blah.
And you don't do drugs.
And then Kamikaze comes out and it's better, but it's just a bunch of about him yelling at the people mad about the last album. It's like, all right, I can do that for an EP.
Yeah.
But like the music, but after that, Music to Be Murdered By was more thematic. And that's more like his speed, like that psycho fucking killer shit. And so for those little 2 album stretch, I was like, there's a couple misses, but I was like, oh, this is better than I've heard you sound in a while.
Yeah.
Now, can he sustain and just keep doing that? I don't know about that.
No.
But it was better than what I'd been hearing.
And after a while, I used to think like M is just, he's to the point where he's just better in features. He is dropping.
I don't even know about that because what happens is he's so bored. All he wants to do is rap better than himself. So he tries to rap each single word in a sentence with each single word in another sentence. And yeah, it's technically brilliant.
That's boring.
But I ain't trying to hear that shit for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And even at the point in my life when I was trying to hear that shit, it sounded way better 20 years ago. Because it wasn't that, it was super technical, but it wasn't like that. It's almost like he's just, I don't know, like maybe his voice got even more annoying or whatever it was. Some things are just like the timing matters. It's just, he was in the perfect place at the perfect time with the perfect surroundings. And that's why what it was.
The perfect storm.
He still has elements. He's still that raining. Nice. It's just not that time anymore. And you can't be the shock rapper like that because we're in cancel era. Yeah. And so it's just like, yeah, we're not going to cancel you, but
your grandfather in, but
you can't say that F word anymore.
Yeah.
Because people are just like, what are you talking about? Like, you're fucking 50 years old now. And, I get it. But he's still capable. It's just, I'm not expecting anything now.
But that's just how I felt about Ice Cube. And shout out to JD, because he's always like tagging me with shit with like Ice Cube music on. And it's not that I never liked him. I just don't like him now. Like he's doing such an amazing job with his movies and all the acting. Just handle that.
But that's what
like 50 Cent, like 50 Cent's doing this shit outside of music now. Like, we don't want to hear you rap no more, bro.
Wait a minute.
You succeeded already.
One second. The only pushback I'm gonna give you on the 50 thing is the last music you've heard from him has been the intros to the shows, and all those show intros are fire.
But to expect like a whole album,
no, I don't think nobody's.
That's what I'm saying. That. But like Now we look forward
but
to
that's why I'm not getting mad at Cube, because Cube's not dropping music outside of that Mount Westmore project.
Say he did that
but he hasn't dropped a solo album.
Tour and shit. Like, what are you doing, man?
He's touring his. I see Ice Cube all the time. Yeah. I've seen him at least 10 times. He don't tour that new shit. He knows what the people want.
Exactly.
So, but I'm saying, like, as far as new music, he hasn't dropped a solo album in a decade.
But he did not a solo album, but he's done music, and I'm just hearing the lyrics like, this is ass, bro. Like,
I don't think he's as active as you're making it seem to be this mad at him.
I'm not mad at him. I just don't like his music anymore. But it hit my distaste for him. Kind of like when you have like a bad apple around good apples, it starts to ruin the rest of the apples. So that's what his music did. Like, his bad music started ruining his good music for me. So like now I hear Today Was a Good Day, which is a fucking classic song.
Okay, so that makes more sense why you're talking about he's out here touring and shit. Like, but he's performing the ones you want to hear.
Now I skip it.
Wow.
Yeah, because his bad music ruined his good music for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's my take on Ice Cube. So, and then people jock him just because he's like, you know, who he was, right? But I get it. But it's like, now I don't want to hear nothing about him. Like, I don't want to hear none of his music.
Or maybe even as good as Bow Down was for you, it just never...
I was also more of a fan of Dub C. I mean, not Dub C, Mac 10 than I was of Q. Even though, like, lyrically, there were two different people. But I just like the Mac 10's, like, more gangsta rap and shit.
But his discography is not even...
It's not even good.
Not even close to...
No, not at all.
Mac 10 is somebody I'd be like, yo, feature, we good to go.
Album? No.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, man.
Oh, I get it now.
I'm also East Coast biased, though. I like more East Coast rap than I do West Coast.
I love East Coast rap.
Yeah.
But, all right. I guess it got a little more interesting towards the end because I didn't know it ruined the good music for you.
Yeah, his bad music.
That's
just
crazy.
Like, he had this one song. It was like a club song. Ice Cube. I don't know what. It's like a catch. It caught on a little bit like a club song.
You talking about an older one? We Be Clubbin'?
After We Be Clubbin', he had like another one. I forgot the name of it. It's not.
You Can Do It, Put Your Back Into It?
Yes.
From the Next Friday soundtrack.
When he started doing that kind of shit, I was like, this is fucking ass, bro. Like, it started literally ruining music. His music.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've also lived through all that, and I didn't like it. But I never went back to fucking Death Certificate and was like, yo, this shit just don't sound the same anymore. Like what do you mean?
I don't know, man. That's just how I feel about Ice Cube. But that's how I feel about The Game, Eminem now. Like other, like when they keep doing it, like I feel like you hit your ceiling, man. Like you, it's like when fighters keep fighting after they, you know, like they keep fighting after they're.
But does your East Coast bias make you not do that for some East Coast people?
No, like DMX when he started dropping music later in his career, like man, it's not.
DMX is a good example East Coast wise as far as like the fall off.
Yeah, like the fall off was rough, man. Like I don't want to. Like I want to remember my greats up top.
So you want everybody to die right at the peak?
Not die at the top, but understand like sometimes like in any career, man, when you reach it's like when a football player. I love football, but it's like when football players keep playing after a certain. It's like, bro, like there's the exceptions like Tom Brady, but then there's like the ones that are not.
But there's also many variables to that, right?
It's like
people are doing it because one, it's like all I know how to do.
But it's also they refuse to accept that there's gonna be like younger and better, and they desperately want to hang on to like that.
I don't know if they refuse. It's just more like, hey, I got a new album.
No, it is refuse. It's like, nah, I could drop an album too. I keep up with these young bucks. No, man. Music's changed, tastes have changed. The people who listened to you back then are old and don't want to hear that shit no more.
But if you consider yourself an artist and this is what you do anyway, and you know, and you're just also like, yeah, I'm not gonna sell a whole bunch of this, but I spend a lot of time.
Then you do it like Jay-Z, like you said, Jay-Z has been able to grow with his music and still be good at it. Like you're not mad at it if a Jay-Z drops a song, you're not mad at it. You're not like, oh shit, he still got it. Like 4 for 4 was not for people who like younger crowd.
But Jay-Z has always been at a certain tier lyrically and technical wise.
That's what I'm saying. He's an exception.
Ice Cube, he's heavy substance. So
but you can't keep up.
But here's the thing: Jay-Z and Ice Cube did the same thing, and they rapped about past stuff. The issue was Jay-Z's a better rapper. than Ice Cube. So if Ice Cube's coming from a certain era where you weren't super lyrical miracle, la 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 la, and you're just like, no, I'm telling you what the fuck it is.
Yeah, but he doesn't know. There's a disconnect.
No, I don't think there is. I think he just, because one, he hasn't put out an album in a long time. But also, it's like, hey, I'm also a businessman. And yeah, I might not be platinum, but I'm also independent. So if I sell fucking 30,000 records, this shit's worth it to me. And because I've done so much, it's not going to hurt my legacy. So if I need to get a couple music, if I need to get a string of songs out of my system as just a pure artist, then the businessman in me will be like, well, shit, put that shit out.
But it does hurt their legacy.
To you.
Right.
I think to the majority of people, there's nothing Ice Cube can do to tarnish his legacy.
Really? I feel like that, like I said, it's anything. Sports, art, music, anything. I think once you can ruin your legacy.
Nobody talks about Jordan on the Wizards.
That's what I'm saying, bro. There's exceptions to every rule.
Ice Cube is an exception.
No, he's not one of the exceptions. Jay-Z's an exception. Michael Jordan's an exception. LeBron James will be an exception.
The fact that Ice Cube is not in that tier of people is fucking wild to me. Let's talk about East Coast people then, because we gotta.
DMX got tarnished, or his legacy was tarnished because he kept going, and it's like, bro,
I feel like
you don't even have that same energy.
I want to subtract the past 3 years from this artist, and I want to talk about Nas.
Okay,
you could say
same thing.
It's not the same. Well, because
his last album was pretty good. I like it.
No, I'm subtracting the past 3 years.
Okay, all right.
Before that, Illmatic was such Illmatic that it's like, damn, it doesn't matter what he does. Not that it was written wasn't good, but it doesn't matter what he does. He can go through that whole Genuine phase and this whole like, what the fuck are you doing for 3 years? the firm shit, but it still be like, no, that's Nas. But like, he's put out more bullshit than good stuff at this point. So is his legacy tarnished? No, he was always looked at as Nas. Now maybe it started to tarnish, and then Jay-Z woke him up, because then Stillmatic, he has a nice mini run, and then he goes back to bullshit for a little bit. You know, Life is Good comes out, and it's like the original 444. And I think a good chunk of the mature people are like, no, this is one of those for Nas. And then he put out a little bullshit with Kanye, and then he took some time off, and then now he's rejuvenated with Hit Boy. But you can argue, now it's up and down. Cube was this, and then that.
Yeah.
But when you put their whole catalogs together, it's still like, okay, there's some bullshit and there's some greatness. Nobody talks about tarnish Nas' legacy.
But I think it's because their greatness was
I'm asking you, do you tarnish Nas' legacy? No. Okay, you could argue, I'm going to argue right now, the height of Ice Cube is way higher than the height of Nas.
Yes, but because the East Coast was saturated, where the West Coast, he's like one of the originators.
Because it was saturated?
Bro, there was so much music coming out of the East Coast, man.
When Nas came out, the biggest label in the world was Death Row.
On the West Coast.
In the world.
Right, but came from the West Coast.
Exactly, so you can't say
how many
East Coast was saturated.
Okay, when Nas came out, how many East Coast rappers were already established and good?
More, but
a lot. Okay, when Ice Cube came out, how many West Coast artists were established and greats?
A few.
It's relevant.
No, that's not the same thing.
Man, he was the best out of few. Nas was good out of a lot.
No.
Yes,
that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. With it. It has nothing to do.
If you don't have much to compare yourself to,
no,
you're better than them.
But here's the thing: when he came out, everybody, including those established people that were already great, looked to him like, "Oh, what's happening here? It's about to change all because of this."
But he was the original lyricist at his time, right? Because who was he writing for?
Who, Cube?
Yeah, who was he writing for?
He wrote
everybody, right?
Yeah.
It was just him. How many lyricists was there in the East Coast?
But
who was writing for who on the East Coast at that time?
But that's only if you segment hip hop into coast. If you talk about it as a genre, which I do, because you're like, I'm East Coast biased, and this is why this is that, and you're only looking at these people as if they only are looked at from the West Coast. Ice Cube's first album is produced. His first solo album is produced by East Coast people.
But the lyrics weren't East Coast.
So,
but I'm
comparing hip hop is a whole thing, not it's segmented into coasts.
I break it down.
He came out before Nas. He came out early enough to where even if you don't segment to just the coast, obviously if I came out fucking 5-6 years before you, there's going to be less established people than there is when you come out. But that has nothing to do.
But his sound is original. Yes, because his sound is original.
Whose sound is original?
Cube's. Cube was original to anything around him. Where Nas, Jay-Z, whoever you want on the East Coast was not original.
All had fought like Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane and shit like that.
They all had influence.
But nobody's going to sit there and say Big Daddy Kane's better than Jay-Z just because he's his father. No one's going to put Cool G Rap over Nas because it's like, oh, that's where you got your style from. So what are we talking about?
But to this day, who can you say is better than Cube on the West Coast?
This generation, you can put
No. Yeah, now give me 3 artists that are better than.
But that's because his height, it's not his height relative to who's around him.
Yes, it is.
I can put that 8-year stretch of Cube next to anybody's 8-year stretch right now. And there's not many that's going to be right there.
There's probably going to be a lot.
A lot? 8 years? I think there's like a 3 to 5 year stretch, maybe. But 8?
Yeah, especially in the later years, he fell off. We talked about that. I'm talking
about an 8-year stretch in anybody's given career. So I think Kanye's close. He had an 8-year stretch where you're like, damn, that's a crazy 8 years, right? Kendrick's had an 8-year stretch.
Cole.
I don't know if I'd put it as high as these other people's, but sure.
Drake. He's been on a run for like 12 years.
He's been on a run, but that's not the type of run I'm talking about. I mean, yes, it is, but not for me. It's a run. It's an unprecedented run that will never be duplicated.
Never.
But the thing with Drake is it's been consistent and it might be above average. I don't know many people who can agree on. It's been so consistent of like 4.5 mics. I don't know if he has a classic like that.
Well, that's right.
And obviously this is a hot topic for some people.
No, I got you. 4.5 mics or even 4 across the board.
No. That's why I said unprecedented.
Is
never
way better
duplicated.
than 1 5 mic.
And I'm not saying he was 4.5 across the board because there's definitely some shit in there.
There's an example.
But I'm just talking about his relevance and what he's done to move the genre. But
I also think the where you're from has a lot to do with it. And this is why I'm gonna say this. He's from Canada, right?
Earlier, now it doesn't.
Hold on. Aside from him in Canada, who can you say is a big artist from Canada?
That doesn't matter no more.
Yes, it does because
it doesn't matter. Canada's so global.
Canada's gonna fuck with him heavy, right? That's a lot of people who fuck with him, right? So on the West Coast, people were like, "Oh, this is new. This is new. I like this from our city. I can relate to this more than I can to relate to the East Coast shit."
Okay, that works in like.
Globally,
like when Brother Lynch goes platinum, you know that was just California. When Slim Thug goes Texas. Platinum, that's all tech. Like we get that. Like obviously, that's a thing. But when you talk about the blog era and specifically when Drake and them start coming out, like this crop, social media becomes a thing, and hip hop is more global than ever. Where you're from doesn't matter so much. That's why all these people. It's like, whoa, everybody kind of sounds like they're from Atlanta now, but you're from Chicago. You're, obviously, there's still an Atlanta sound. There's still a Chicago sound, but it's a lot closer and more global it's now than ever. So
it's blending in more for sure.
So when you talk about anybody from 2008 or whatever on, I don't want to hear about where you're from. Don't want to hear about where you're from.
But we're talking about Cube back in the 80s and 90s, right? So it does matter.
Okay, but
even up to the game, it mattered because he was on the West Coast. We haven't had shit in so many fucking years. We're going to rock with him. And he stuck to Dre.
It mattered. Okay.
Because what happened once he started beefing with 50?
Game is an example on the West Coast where this is where your East Coast bias comes in, right? And I would say probably the majority in the mainstream because I think the mainstream leans more towards the East than the West. People have this whole thing like, Game saved the West. They didn't have nobody. But me, somebody from the West Coast, is like, I've had an artist and an album every single year since Chronic 2001.
Maine.
Right, I'm talking about me. But I was like, I've been taken care of every single year before a game came out, West Coast music wise, until he got here, right? So I think it depends on who you're talking to. And yeah, if everything's leaning East Coast bias, then it comes a narrative, game saved the West Coast and game did. And yeah, so mainstream, whatever. And maybe I'm not the right person to talk about because I don't give two fucks about mainstream. Do I listen to some mainstream music? Sure. Do I want artists to feed themselves and succeed? Sure. But I don't give a fuck. And this is the problem Carl has with me on my music list at the end of the year. I might have an album in the top 5 that not many people heard of, maybe sold about 16 copies, and be like, how the fuck does it get number 5? I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about the accolades. I don't care about none of that shit. Was this shit hard or not? Was it harder than this album before and this one? Yes. That's why I place it here. And a lot of people have an issue with that because it's like, oh, well, nobody talked about it. So I talked about it.
But it comes down to like relatability. People can't relate to it because they don't know it even exists.
Right, but everybody's different. Everybody relates to different shit.
Like for how many years, I don't know about years, but for how long was Benny the Butcher under the radar and only a certain amount of people knew about him and were putting him up there as a lyricist?
But that's the thing. Someone like Benny the Butcher is interesting because...
And now he's getting more light.
He's getting more light, but still the majority of people have no fucking clue who he is.
But he's good, right?
Yeah. I've been listening to him since 2016.
That's what I'm saying. How long has he gone?
He got big in 2018?
19?
18, 19? But yeah, it's like... So when I'm a little early on people like that, I do get a little validation when they hit their little big moment, like, told y'all. But after that, that's what I'm saying. It's different now. In certain aspects, because of social media, people might think Benny the Butcher is bigger than he actually is.
Because of social media.
Because of, we get segmented into these little populations and niche groups of people where we're like, oh yeah, everybody talks about Benny, but not really.
No. So that's why I don't like Ice Cube.
Yeah, we can move on. Too much rapidy rap out here. I don't want your female listeners to get all upset.
Nah, that was good because I'm glad you brought it out because it's been hard to explain why I didn't like him. Because nobody.
Really feel relieved that you got this off your chest. I got it. Oh, so other people have had this issue with you.
Yeah, my boys. But
they might have been like I was confused because, like I said, I went in hearing what you said that night, and I took it as 1986 till now. I didn't realize. Oh, you did like that, and you're just so turned off by this new stuff. It made you. I still don't understand that part, but it's like, oh, I thought it was like, damn, he didn't make shit.
I've never liked doing.
That's what it sounded like to me that night.
Nah, I used to love.
I was ready to flip tables over and do all this shit. Like, yo, we got a problem.
Nah. But yeah, so I just came back from my bachelor party, man.
Oh shit! Woo!
I was out in Texas.
So, what part of Texas?
Dallas Fort Worth.
Okay, that's a hot part right now.
Yeah,
that sounds like a grown up one. Sounds like you're being grown and mature.
Nah.
Okay.
Very, very immature. Very early 20s vibe and shit, partying and shit.
Okay, I was, because most people like, oh, we're going to Vegas, we're going to Miami, and whatever. I don't really hear many Dallas things. Not that you can't get it done in Dallas.
No, yeah, I feel you. So a lot of people were like, why not Vegas? I've done Vegas. We used to go like every summer.
No, yeah, Vegas. For sure. I totally understand that point. Yeah. Just like with Carl, we went to DC.
So that's like that, right? Like that's.
And I'm
different.
like, oh, he trying to be grown. He trying to. We ain't. Let's not get in trouble. Let's not put ourselves in too much temptation or whatever. But hey, I'm gonna let you lead this one because however much you want to divulge.
I mean, it was respectful, but it was a good time. We hit up a few clubs, a couple strip clubs, and we went to one. Right, we get there.
Now in Texas, Houston gets talked about the most for strip clubs, but I'm assuming Dallas ain't far behind.
I've never been to Houston, so I'm gonna give you.
But if you had a good time in Dallas,
so. My main thing was like I don't really care for strip clubs.
Yeah, me neither.
So we went after the club. So it was kind of like a spur. Like, oh yo, let's keep it going. We'll go to the strip club, right? We went to this one. It's called Ecstasy, and we get there, we get in, and it's like huge place full of like women. Full.
I would hope so.
And then they're like, you guys want a table? And we're like, yeah, set us down somewhere. This guy comes by. He's like, you want a bottle? I was like. While we here,
$450 for some Sky vodka.
$250. Hold on, $250 for some tequila. To us here in California, in San Diego,
$250 sound like a steal.
$250 is a deal. Like, yo, $50 each. Let's go. Let's do this. Like, yeah, bring one. He brings it. He's like, yeah, you can Venmo me. And I was like, that's odd, man. I've been to a lot of clubs.
He brought you that plastic bottle tequila.
Nobody's ever said you could just Venmo me, right?
Yeah, that shit come 2 days
later. We don't
stay
too long because we was already kind of lit. My boy grabs the bottle. He's like, yo, sneak it out. We're going to take it. We paid for that.
For sure.
Taking it out, right?
I wouldn't even want to sneak that shit.
Well, you don't want them to say nothing. So we took it. We left. The next day, we're in the Uber because we were going somewhere. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, that club is dope. It's bring your own alcohol. Excuse me? He said, yeah. Any place in Texas.
He went to Costco before.
Any place in Dallas is after hours. Anything is considered after hours. Just bring your own liquor.
Damn. I wouldn't.
So he's like,
I don't know if I want to do that in the same type of state that has like you can carry your own gun around.
Right? Yeah. Nah, their pat down game is crazy. But we didn't know that, and we over here sneaking shit out. Like, we didn't have to do that. You could have brought your own liquor.
They saw the Cali dripping from y'all a mile away.
Yeah. But the girls were nice.
And he knew, he's like, yo, $250 gonna be a steal. I'm gonna sell this shit right here. This shit was $14.
It's $25, whatever, right? The next day, we go to another club, and afterwards they're like, yo, let's hit up the strip club. At this one, we know, I assume they brought their own, because there was alcohol when I showed up. But it was like the C Squad, man. Like,
Wait, what type? Was it like a weekday?
No, it was Saturday.
Damn, C Squad on a Saturday?
On a Saturday.
Did you go at lunchtime?
No, man. It was like prime peak hours, like 2 a.m.
Yeah. Hey.
It was C Squad, like C-sections and fucking... It was a C Squad, and I was like really disappointed by that one.
So, my first strip club experience was here. Okay. It was at
one of the 21 or 18 and up.
Nah, this was 18. This was at
Full Nude.
Oh shit, what's in Claremont? What is that? Damn, I'm drawing a blank right now. What is in Claremont, right?
Cheetahs?
Might have been Cheetahs. Anyway, I don't know anything to expect other than like the tip drill video. Right?
One of the best videos to ever go.
Right. So I'm kind of walking in. It's my 18th birthday. I'm walking in there with two of my homies. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. And so I'm thinking like, all right, you know, they dance. They want money thrown at them. It is what it is. Now at 18, like I'm broke. Like I'm broke now, but I was poor at 18.
You were like, how much is entrance? God damn.
No, it wasn't even about that. I was getting there. I'm like, oh. So one of the first things I noticed was like, oh, these girls get off stage and they walk around asking for tips. I thought they just took whatever was thrown at them on stage and they kept it pushing.
Nah.
So I'm doing there. I'm like, all right, you know, we play some pool, going around, do a lap. And I'm like, and I don't know if this was the C Squad or if their A Squad was just that bad. But I'm like, like I'm around girls that are better than this on a daily basis. And so I run into the one and I'm like, ooh, that's her. Now my homies.
Before you continue, what was she?
The one was the one? Yeah. She was black and maybe something else, but she was mostly black.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, yeah, that's her. And my homies are like, yeah, we got money on the dance. And I think on the advertisements around the thing was like $20 for a lap dance. Now, I don't know anything about going to the back culture or nothing like that. I was like, oh, $20 for a dance. All right, cool, whatever. Let me just get this experience out the way. So I finally go up to her and I ask her, I'm like, hey, can I get a lap dance? And she's like, you talking about those ones out there? She's like, no, I don't do those. And I was like, you're right. You're way too beautiful for that. I was trying to save her. At 18, right? So then I give up and I'm like, all right, now I got to find.
Let me get you out this lifestyle.
Now I got to find the second best girl in here. So in my search for the second best girl, there's this white girl on stage, right? Nobody. No space body.
Okay.
And she's got, not that this is a big deal, you know, I love women. I don't body shame anybody, but it's just like, you don't, at 18, I'm thinking like stripper, this and that. And she just got like hella, like, she's like sunburned in one area. She's got hella moles right here and whatever. And like, yeah, women are beautiful. I'm more mature now, but she looked like, she reminded me of the girl, and this might be way too much of a callback for people, but if you've ever seen Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in South Central Hood, If you remember the white girl that he fucks in the trailer at the end, it reminded me of her, the Milk of Magnesia, right? I was like, yo. So she was on stage and I didn't really notice. And she started walking around for tips. And now I'm sitting down waiting for my crack at the pool table. And she comes up to me and she's like, did you see me up there taking off all my clothes? And me being ridiculous at that time, I was like, yeah, I was hoping you was going to keep them on. She lost all her momentum, whatever momentum she thought she had. She started crying.
Oh, you fuck.
She went to the back. She clocked out and bounced. Now, in hindsight, like, I kind of feel bad about that. But in the moment, I was like, yo, why the fuck she even work here? There's no way people was tipping her like that.
This cannot be worth it, her time.
Yeah, so fast forward, I find the second best looking girl in there who just happened to look almost identical to my ex at the time. But I'm like, hey, what am I going to do? So I go get the lap dance, right? My homies, they cheap date, right? They both put 10 on it, gave her the 20. And so I go and I'm getting my lap dance and it's like, all right. So I guess you get 2 songs or a song. What? Halfway through, she leans in my ear and she's like, hey, do you want to take this to the back? Now at the time, I don't know no better. I'm like, oh shit, she fucking with me like that? Let's go. She's like, yeah, look, we can stop right now. We can go to the back. I'm like, for sure. So she grabs my hand. She pulls me to the back. Then she goes, do you want to go to SeaWorld or do you want to go to Disneyland? Now, one of those options sounds way better than the other, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what's Disneyland hitting for, right? That's when she's like, oh.
Also, wait, so you knew there was like a price to be back there?
No, I didn't say hit. I was like, yo, I want to go to
okay, all right.
Who doesn't want to go to Disneyland? Yeah. I mean, they asked these motherfuckers after the Super Bowl where they going, right? I'm trying to go. I ain't never heard nobody say SeaWorld. I'm like, all right, let's go to Disneyland. She's like, oh, I forgot the price. She might have said like $150 or something like that. And I'm like, ooh.
For a broke 18-year-old?
It's kind of hit me. I mean, my boys only gave me, I looked at them like, man, they ain't got no 150. I don't know if they about to do that. They don't fuck with me like that. So I was like, all right, well, what's SeaWorld hitting for, right? And she said some number, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm cool, man. Because, like, she was fine, but I was like,
Did you have it?
Huh?
Did you have the money?
No, I didn't have it personally.
Okay.
I was expected to be pampered on my birthday. Right? So
other 18
I might have had no. They were a few years older than me.
Okay, all right.
I might have had like $40 on me. And I needed that for whatever.
For life.
So I came back and was like, hey, yo, like, I know this is only my first time, but I feel like strip clubs might be overrated. And obviously Dago's different, right? We're not known for that type of shit. Vegas, I've had great times at Spearmint Rhino and stuff like that. I went, my best friend went to Morehouse. And I flew out to Atlanta to move him back. He took me to Onyx on like a fucking Wednesday, and that shit was popping. And he was like, "This is the C Squad." I was like, "Whoa!" I was still broke, but if I would have went like now, I probably
drop a little something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be Young Jeezy or anything, but I'd be, And then, but in general, even if it's a great time and it's all cool, I'm not really. Like, I don't need to be in the strip club hours at a time. Like, it's not, let me do a lap. I'll go for somebody's bachelor, birthday, whatever. Like, I'll put a little money on a dance, whatever you need to do. But I'm not here for all that. Like, just get me all hot and bothered for some money.
Go home.
I got to do this little 2-drink minimum of non-alcoholic beverages and then keep it pushing.
I always thought strip clubs were, there was a time when I liked them. And then when I discovered nightclubs, I was like, hold up. Because you go to a strip club, 100%.
I can take one of these home.
Yeah, like when you still go to a strip club, you're like, for sure, I'm not taking nothing home. Like, the odds are very, very slim unless you're going to pay. You go to a club, you have a chance to like take something home.
So one of the times I was in Vegas and we went to Spearmint Rhino.
Oh, they'll offer you.
I don't know if this was my first time. It might have been my first time there, right? So we go. I'm with a big group of people. And me, I do my normal thing. I'm doing a lap. I got cheap ass stamped in my forehead. Like, hey, if you want to have a real conversation, I can do that. But I'm just going to keep leading you on. I don't need no lap dance. I'm here just for the ambiance and, see what the DJ hitting for. And I'm not sitting here being a creep, just like, oh, how far is she gonna bust it wide open or whatever. But anyway, so we're there, and we might have got there. Vegas, it gets popping a little later. We might have got there like 1, which is still somewhat early in Vegas.
Yeah, it's kind of early.
But it was like, it was popping. We didn't really make it a full lap. And people started doing their thing. Like, all right, I like her. I'm going to go get a dance from her. So this one individual who I was with, he finds a girl like he's fucking with. He goes to the back with her. I don't know what the Spearmint Rhino prices are for the back, right? But he goes to the back with her.
Expensive.
Comes back. I don't know. It's like 2 or 3 songs. I'm at the point where like, all right, I'm chilling. I found a chair. People come up to me. I give them a few seconds conversation. They realize I got cheap ass stamped on my forehead, and they keep it pushing. As other friends that were mingling come in and check up, I'm like, all right, we good. I'm just kind of being like the center, the glue. Like, all right, whenever we're all ready to go, we're all gonna be right here. So my man keeps coming back out, and so he's like, yeah, I'm about to go to the back for another dance. I'm thinking he found another girl. He went back to the same girl.
Same one, yeah.
Right? So I'm like,
he fell in love.
And we've been there, and I'm like, yo, this little 2-drink minimum, like, I've been out of alcohol. Someone else gave me their ticket, and I'm like, how long have we been here? He kept going. He was back there the whole time. I feel like he could have got like a bulk pricing if you said up front, hey, I got like 500. How long can we be back here versus, hey, I got 50 this time.
20.
And just keep doing these little bass hits. We finally all got together in the same time. Like, finally, everybody's on the same page, and we left. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Varsity Blues, but they go to the strip club, and then they open the door, and it's fucking sunlight in their fucking.
Yeah,
it was like 7 a.m. I was so fucking ashamed.
Felt disgusting.
So we get into the taxi, and we're like, oh, take us to MGM or where we were at, right? And the taxi driver, there was a language barrier. And he was like, girls? And, we just came from strip clubs. We're like, oh, yeah. So he starts driving us, right? And we're all like fucking tired. And then he pulls up to this random spot. And I'm like, yo, where the fuck are we? And then the windows roll down, and this girl comes. She's like half naked. She comes out of this random door, starts walking down. I was like, this ain't the MGM. Like, where you got it? She leans into the window, and she's an escort. But she leans in the window. She's like, oh, there's 4 of y'all? I guess I can do that. I'm like, bitch, it's not even breakfast time yet. Like, what you mean? I was like, no, MGM. Can't believe the meter's running right now. Where did you take us? Oh, my God.
To finish off what the stripper started and shit.
Oh, no. To finish that story, I mean, that was just an escort. But later, the next night, that next day, we came in, it was 7 a.m. We passed out for a little bit. I don't know if it was the next day or the next night. That same stripper he spent all that money on ended up on our hotel room floor.
Hey, that's what's up.
And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh my God. But the way he described it, though, was like, yeah, man, she took me out to breakfast. She offered to pay. I was like, no, you paid. Yeah. That was your money. But, better than most, I guess. I mean, You got her to, it's not even like she slept in the bed, because at that time we were still kind of thugging it. So, we probably had 1 or 2 more to the room than we necessary, because we're like, we ain't about to be here like that.
I'll sleep on the floor.
Yeah, fuck, I can do that for a night. Even in my 30s, I think I could thug it out a little bit. Because some of them prices just like, man, for real? It's a basic ass room. But yeah, the only other funny strip club story I got like off top was we took my man to the strip club. His very first time in Vegas. He didn't even get a lap before he fell in love.
Oh,
right?
Of course.
He falls in love. He starts talking to this girl like it's the club. Like, if I just talk enough, maybe I got a chance, right? And he doesn't understand. Like, this isn't your first strip club. This is your first Vegas experience. You cannot sit here and believe that they really like you like that. Not that they can't, but like, it's their job to sell you a fantasy. So he's talking to her forever. I don't know if he got a dance or whatever he did, but we were there for about an hour, and it got to the point where we kind of met up in a certain spot, like, hey, everybody good, right? That same chick comes around, starts talking to this other dude, starts unbuttoning his shirt.
In front of your boy?
Just starts like, hey, how you doing? He drops his jaw. He looks at us like, can you believe the nerve of her? she was telling me this, and that. And we just started laughing. I'm like, yo, that's her job. And he could not get it through his head.
He thought
he was 100%. He was dead serious. He's like, oh, I can't believe she played me like that. I'm like, man, you lucky you like $400 or $500 deep right now.
Yeah, real shit.
Wild times.
Damn. Nah, I've been to a shitload of strip clubs. TJ, Vegas.
Oh,
now
TJ.
Dallas. I think Vegas is probably, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they make you feel like you can get a free limo out there and shit. So you feel kind of fancy. You're like,
and then you leave and you're like, where's that limo?
Yeah.
Nah, fam, you better call a taxi.
Hopefully he's not surcharging in the Ubers.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Have you ever taken out money in Vegas at the ATM?
Hell no.
At the strip club?
Nah, cheap ass stamped right on the forehead.
So you go, my boy went, he's like, yo, it's a $15.
Right.
$15 charge for every $100. For $100? I was like, what the fuck? Hell no, that adds up. I'm going to go take out 3 at once, even if I don't use it all. But I don't want to pay $15 each time.
Nah.
That machine knows.
No, yeah, but
every $15,
exactly.
every 100 for
one,
15.
All right, so it takes advantage of people who aren't prepared and or get too drunk, right?
And
they're
too
just
excited.
Like, yeah. So I get it. It's predatory, but it's like, all right, supply and demand. There ain't nothing else around here. Me, I'm always prepared. I bring
cheap
X amount of dollars. Depending on the occasion, if for somebody else, like, hey, I got 50 on this, I got 100 on this, whatever it is, that's it. I ain't here about to be drinking a bunch of drinks. I'm probably not gonna get blown away to where like, man, I really want to talk to this girl for 6 minutes while she rubs on me in the back, not doing all that. So I go there. It is what it is, and if I do get excited, like, you know what, I might fuck with her. Oh, I ain't got enough. Oh well. It is what it is.
Leave the debit card at home.
ATM ain't getting me. Or that too. Yeah, cash only.
Cash.
Like a hole in the wall taco shop. That's my strip club, is hole in the wall taco shop.
Your boys don't ever say nothing
about?
Or you guys are all on the same page?
Oh, about me being cheap.
Did you ever notice that you were getting less invites?
No, not at all. Because if it's somebody else's like event, I always put in.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to spending on other people, I'll do that.
It's on you?
Not the whole night's on me, but it's like, hey.
No. I'm saying when it's on you, you're more.
Yeah. If it's on me, like if we're just going there and it's nobody's bachelor, nobody's birthday, and just like, hey, let's hit the strip club real quick. Then it's like, yeah, I'm going, and people invite because like I would like to think I'm good company. They don't give a fuck how much money I'm spending. It's not like, I mean, I don't think we've ever been in a situation where the girls are like, I like y'all, but this motherfucker's just ruining everything. It's like, nah, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it's other people, yeah, I got it. Shit, my fucking bachelor party, people got mad at me because the girl that I chose for my like bachelor lap dance looked pretty close to like my wife.
I mean,
and he's like, yo, you're supposed to go like opposite, all out, you know, whatever.
Know about that. I feel like it's like,
but I was like, yo, I get that, but I also did a lap and I wasn't really fucking with nothing else.
Yeah.
I really enjoy glasses. It was calling me.
I feel like the strip club is like an ice cream shop with a lot of flavors. You should get the only flavor you want. Like,
no, I mean, that's how I was feeling.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, I mean, I guess it is what it is.
At least your consistency in what you like.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't even know if I consider myself to have a type because I feel like I'm an equal opportunity employer.
Okay.
You know, I've hit for the cycle. Whatever analogy you want to use, like I don't sit here and be like, oh, I can't fuck with this and that. But just happened to be for that night. I was like, eh.
That was the one that got your attention?
Yeah, that's all it was.
I remember we went to Vegas and the stripper, she was... When I say she was bad, bro, she was bad. She was like light-skinned, Latina, dark hair, long, like full dark. She was turning everybody's head. She was bad. And they were like, I think it was like, I don't know why we were there, but my boys were like, you want to get it down? We got you. And I was like, nah. Because I was like, I was like, damn, she bad as shit.
But I might propose to her.
Like something that was like more my taste walked by. I was like, nah, that one right there. And they were like, what? Oh, look at that. I was like, what can I tell you, man? You know, we like what we like. And if you're at a strip club, you get what you like. That's why they have so many different flavors and sizes and shit.
I don't be mad at people because like, yo, yeah, I put in on it. Yeah, maybe I wanted you to aim a little higher, but at the end of the day, I'm not back there with you. I'm not rubbing on your shit.
That'd be weird, huh?
It was like that whole like what you eat don't make me shit type of thing. Like it's all you. Like I don't give a fuck.
It's awkward too. Have you ever seen like your boy get a lap dance?
Yeah, too. Like if you go in the back, they don't always have like partitions or
like just one long
it's like,
bench.
Oh, this ain't as private as you think it is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I've seen some shit like, all right, oh, he's kind of big nasty, isn't he? I don't know about that, but
we had one of my boys' bachelor parties at my apartment when I used to live up here in East Chula Vista.
Oh, you had girls come over?
Yeah, we had these 2 girls come over. First of all, this is
like official girls or girls you just knew that were
no, like actual strippers.
Okay.
So my boy went on a website and like a list of girls. He's
back
like,
page.
I want this and this. This is before like Instagram. It's like before all that. So he's like her. They show up. Not those
smoking cigarettes.
There's just like 2 random girls and I opened the door and I was like,
catfish.
I'm pretty sure we ordered like a brunette and these were like 2 blondes, right? My boy that ordered them comes, he's like, I didn't order y'all. Like real rude. And I was like, hey, yo, chill, man. Like they're here already. Like we can't fucking send them. They're not gonna send nobody else. And he's like, fuck, all right. He kind of like gave him like a nasty taste. Like, man, he don't even want us here.
I ain't about to be trying now.
So they do their thing, and one of his homies was do a huge tarp, like a canopy, and he started putting it on my carpet. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing." I was like, "All right, man, if you say so." Sure enough, these girls started using whipped cream.
Oh yeah,
and like sliding across the fucking floor. So I was like, "Salute, thank you for that." But one of my boys, he was like very timid, shy, was getting a little lap dance. And I kind of like glanced over and I was like, I don't feel comfortable.
He's a little hot and bothered.
Yeah, he was just like way too into it. And I never saw him again. Never saw him the same again.
He married her?
Nah, they just my impression of him changed dramatically.
Yeah. Sometimes in those moments you get to see who people are a little bit. And like, oh, all right.
Yo, that's what you're doing behind closed doors?
I mean, I'm not a big kink shamer, if that's what, like
it's not that. It's just I didn't expect that from him.
Yeah,
he was always very quiet. He didn't like talking to women like that. And he was just, and then when he got like his hands on her, I was like, "Yo."
I might expect that though. Like if you're that shy and timid, and then you get the chance where it's happening, you just kind of go crazy. You don't know what to do. It's like Ricky Bobby with his hands and thing. I don't know what to do with my hands. Like like when I first got to the strip club, I was so like I was so scared to touch her because I'm like, yo. Security right there just fucking staring at me, might beat me down. I don't know what's appropriate or not. And she's like, you could touch me. And I was like, bitch, stop lying to me.
Put a finger on her butt.
She was like, hey, you want to get your fingers wet? I was like, not that bad. Because your man won't stop staring at me. There's other people here, but he's looking right at me. And I'm not really getting everything I need from our interaction because I'm fucking staring at him.
You ever hear like stories of like dudes who win? They're like, yeah, bro, my boy got sucked up in the back.
Yeah, man. I'm like, yo,
what club are y'all going to, man?
No, I was at the same club.
That's what I'm saying. But I was like,
I heard a story in the town. I was like, where's she at? She wasn't having it for me. That's why I was like, all right, yeah, I know my role. This happens for him. Great story, of course. It's not in the cards for me, and that's okay.
Yeah,
still had a good time.
You're a role player, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I can set screens like no other.
Layups, assists, no problem.
Look, taking charges,
taking the foul.
Hell yeah, I'll come in. You need 3 quick fouls, get them on a free throw line, hack a shack, whatever it is.
I got you. I'm not the triple.
Not selfish at all.
Triple double guy.
We all get the same ring, right?
Not really.
I mean, you might get the Subway deal.
Yeah, you got the Subway deal.
You know, I'm taking care of
the Nike deal.
You taking care? I'm taking. I get.
You shooting me the leftover shoes? Got you.
I get to go to the parade, right?
That's 100% true. We all know our role.
We don't all know our role.
No, that's true. A lot of people, you'd be like, bro, come on, man.
Like you were talking about when you discovered the club. You're like, oh, this is more my speed, right? None of that shit's my speed. The club's not me because I consider myself like I'm the personality dude, right? So being a loud ass club and dancing around where the first thing you got to look at is like, I got to look at who you are first. It's like, I'm not going to thrive in there, but I've been in the club plenty. Usually I'm dragged there for like a birthday or whatever it is. Or even when we were like younger to where we were just at the club just to be there. I knew my role. So I usually roll with people that might have been talking to multiple women that were probably there the same night. And so I'd be focused on like, all right, let me run interference, make sure they're good. So if I seen one girl that he didn't know was there, then and I see her making her way to him, I'm gonna run up on her. Cause if they know him, they probably know me. And I just start dancing. We're like, oh, what up? And get her distracted for a couple songs till I can get the cuckoo, get the little,
send out the pigeons.
And then he sees it and I'm just like, hey, move to the other side. And we just all night like that. So.
Oh, you definitely put it setting screens and shit.
100. That's what I'm saying, man. 100%. You got 6 fouls to give. I'm gonna use all of them if I have to.
Speaking of people who don't know the role, we went to Vegas one year and my boy pulled a girl, right? Took her back to the hotel. We had what is it called? Conjoined rooms? With like the door separates.
Right.
So it was both of our rooms, right? We go in, my boy gets into his bed, but he's in the same room that the dude who pulled the girl in. He gets in the bed under the covers, is like ready to knock out.
Hell yeah.
And we're just looking at him like, yo. Like, what? We're like,
I'm about to sleep.
Yo.
Y'all can fuck if y'all want to.
Exactly.
Don't mind me.
He was like, what? I'm tired. I was like, bro. He's like, what? I was like, do I gotta like, I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable. Like, yo, the boy's about to smash a random. Get out. Right. So we had to like, yo, let me go talk to you. Come on, man. Get over. He's like, making a scene. Finally got him out, got left in the room alone for the boy. But it's just like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, I'm tired. I was like, there's another room, bro.
Right. I get that. And I guess it'd be different if it was conjoined rooms. But I've also been around people that just don't give a fuck.
That's weird.
Like, you gonna be here, you gonna be here. I'm like, damn, you big horny like that? All right. Not that I was the dude that was like so tired that I need to go to sleep, because I've always been the dude like, hey, I'll sleep in the hallway for a few hours if you need that time, or I'll go roam the casino.
Yeah, I got you 20 minutes. I'll be back.
You know, whatever you got to do, I'll do it. But yeah, I've also been around people that's like, yeah, we had the double bed and we just, we both had a girl and we just kind of was what it was. I'm like, all right, good for y'all.
I think my boy was waiting.
I can adapt
for like the tap in, like the tag in.
I'm like, hey, I'm tired, man, but she still seems energetic. I need a little help.
Yeah,
help.
I think he was like,
the whiskey dick has got me.
I'll lay on the ground while they throw the pass and then I'll scoop it. You know what I mean?
Lord, yeah, that's.
I think that's what really was like. I'll wait till he tires out. Then he's like, yo,
I'm gonna take a little power nap just in case he needs to tag me in.
Or the girl's gonna be like, oh, you're in here?
I'm on injured reserve.
The girl's like, you're in here too? Fuck it. Join in and shit. You know what I mean? That was probably his mindset on that. But
Vegas brings out some weird things in people.
Most definitely. Shit. That's why they want to go to Vegas. Vegas is a lot more expensive than Dallas too. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We were talking about that at the airport. Like, what we spent all weekend, we probably would have spent it one night in Vegas and shit.
I mean, that's not a.
So, it was a good time, man.
You get married a little later in life, you make better decisions.
Yeah, for sure.
And you get married later in life, the people you bring with you got more money to spend on you too.
Very much true, yeah.
So yeah, that was a big thing. Like I can buy you. I got the $80 steak. Bring it out here.
I got you,
it's
bro.
on me today. My man,
you got married younger in your later age.
It wasn't that young.
20s or 30s?
I got married at 26.
I mean, it's not young, but it's
27 maybe.
Not old. It's like right in the middle.
Yeah, I was like 27, right? The problem is I know so many people that my best man, he had a
Carl?
Huh?
Carl?
No, Carl didn't go to my wedding.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But my best man, he had trouble with, because I got married in Vegas.
In Vegas?
Yeah, so we wanted to make it like a long weekend, right? So the plan was we can get all the bachelorette stuff done, and then we can go get married off the strip somewhere. Not like Elvis weekend? And shit, the same weekend, right?
That's tough.
So we got there like Thursday, and it was just me and her. So me and her went to the strip club. We got danced together. We did
together.
Yeah. I love going to strip club with women.
That's what's up.
Yeah, we did like our own thing. Friday, our parties come in. It's like, oh yeah, we go our separate ways. They got an Airbnb off the strip. We was at like Mandalay Bay or some shit, and we did our thing. They did their thing. Saturday came. We had like the rehearsal stuff, and then again we went and did our thing. They did their thing, and then we got married on Sunday.
That's what's up.
And so it was just a long weekend. And then after we got married, we had like an after thing. We at the Airbnb they had was like a big ass like mansion type of thing. And so everybody came back to do that. before me and her left. Yeah, but my best man, he was like, yo, you know, too many people and too many types of people. And what he meant was, normally when I go to Vegas, I go with a core group of people because we know what it is.
Right.
And we know about how much money we need. No one's going to be kind of weird about it. And we're all going to do the same activity. When it comes to a wedding and you got to broaden that spectrum, he's like, yo, all these people fuck with you, but they're all broke. And so I don't know who wants to go to dinner, who wants to do a strip, who wants to get a table at the club, who wants to do this and that. Everybody's kind of like, I'll do this, but I won't do that. And there's like 20 people sending me a schedule. And it's, you know, when you're used to just like, I'm going with 6 people who all do everything, he was a little frustrated.
Yeah, I feel it.
So that's what was kind of different about that one. It's just because normally all the people I invited to Vegas, I usually wouldn't go to Vegas because I know they don't belong in Vegas.
Right.
Like, you don't have enough money to go to a pool party and do this and that and also feed yourself for a few days. Like, you got to pick and choose. And I'm not
laughing because like, no, at them, it's just like funny.
It just was, but that's why you go with the core people that you go with. Cause I went to a bachelor party. I was the best man for my man who got mad at me because I didn't invite him to my wedding. And my response at the time was like, you don't belong in Vegas. Sometimes you got to know your friends better than they know them. I was like, you barely paying your rent, dog. Like, you don't need to be in Vegas doing what I'm about to be doing.
Yeah.
So when it came time for his bachelor party, it was just me, him, and another homie. And he's like, yeah, I want to go to Vegas. I'm like, for sure. And I'm like, all right, he ain't going to be trying to do a whole bunch of stuff that I be doing, so I might get off relatively cheap. I didn't know I was going to get off this cheap.
Oh, you got off cheap?
Man, we got I don't remember what hotel we was in. I remember this was the same weekend that 444 came out. But when I went to pick him up, I got a rental. Went to pick him up. He brought out a big ass tray of baked ziti. I was like, dog, what are you doing? He's like, oh yeah, my girl made that for me, so we don't got to be buying a bunch of food in Vegas. I was like, hey, it's your world, dog. And so we kind of lived off that. But I'm like, all right, man. I understand he ain't got bread like that, but he's also the bachelor.
Yeah.
And the other homie, he ain't got bread like that, but like, I don't want to sit here and just do nothing. Because at this point, I did complete opposite of what I would do with my regular homies. Like, I don't smoke like that, but I know he's a heavy smoker. So I brought a bunch of weed and we were just rolling joints the whole time. I was like, you really just want to post up, walk the strip, smoke joints and drink and talk shit? I can do that. I don't know if we had to come to Vegas for it, but we could do that. And then when it came time, I was like, hey man, I feel like every bachelor party I go to, you know, everybody kind of deserves like a gentleman's dinner. Like, you want to go get a steak or something? He's like, no, we still got some ziti. I was like, bro. I was like, dog. I was like, no, man, like, I got you. He's like, nah, man, don't even worry about it. I was like, man, all right. I did take him to the strip club, got him a dance. I mean, I had to put more on it, but it wasn't like, we went to like Sapphire on like an off night. So it wasn't even that bad. He had a great time. And I'm like, that's all that matters.
Real shit.
So I appreciate people that like the simple things, because I was like, shit, all I had to do was, and the weed wasn't even like top shelf. It was like some like shake and
some Pretendo.
Just like, I just gotta roll joints and keep you high and keep you entertained.
Like for mine, I didn't invite a couple people, not because I don't enjoy their company. It's just I know what I wanted to do is not what they like to do. Yeah. And it's like, I could have shot you the invite like on some friendly shit, and then you would have told me no. But I was like, I just want to avoid all that. You know, like, I know you're not into going to where I want to go.
At the end of the day,
I know you don't like spending money like that. It's not that I do, but it's just like, I'm going with a purpose. And so I just avoided the whole, I was like, you know, I'm just going to go with who I know is like with the shits.
At the end of the day, it's your day.
Yeah.
So if you think someone might throw that energy off and they have a problem with it, then they just gonna have to deal with it.
They just gonna have to sit on the sideline for one.
Yeah, it's not, you know. If someone hit me and was like, oh, I know that's not, like, I got friends that go out and might club a little bit. It's kind of understood. Like, yeah, if you would have hit me, I would have said no. So I'd stop getting the invite, but I don't take it personal. Like, oh, they don't invite me no more. Now, if they had like a game night or some shit, I'm like, oh man, what's good? But nah, like if you go fucking downtown, like, no, fuck out of here.
It's fine, don't invite me.
If it's like a birthday or something like an event, yeah, I'll pop up and I'll make an appearance. But if y'all just trying to go just to get out, like I'm really backed up in the Netflix queue.
Yeah.
You know
Did you catch that show, The Love and Death?
Not yet.
That shit was fire, bro. I was listening to you guys' last one where he brought it up. That shit. You know what? Carl kind of upsets me a little bit, man. His description of
let's talk about that.
His show descriptions are not accurate, and it's like
he takes from him what he takes from him. Yeah. If that's how he describes it,
he was describing. I was like, that's not.
So when he tells me shit, like I take it for what it is, but I kind of take it with like a grain of salt. Like, all right, I'm glad he said something, but I'm gonna need my own research for this. I'm gonna need my own perspective because I'm probably gonna see it a totally different way.
You should just be like, just give me the name. I'll do the rest.
Yeah.
Why does he? In your opinion, why does he censor you?
Well, I mean, I've been pretty tame tonight, I think, but I think now he maybe he got me trained.
He got you all trained.
I just feel like, I'm always here for the joke. I'm always here, and I feel like I got a ton of stories that would make great content, but might not exactly be a good look for me to be saying on any given platform, whether it be timing or just dry snitching or, whatever it is, right? Like, I feel like when you talk to me in an intimate setting, it's like, yo, you should write a book. You should have a fucking movie. And it's like, I don't get to say a lot of that shit on camera. Some of it I want to, but some of it's like,
Is it because
we got aunties and parents that listen to this, and for some reason, he wants to make this shit family friendly. I'm like, no, that's weird. But yeah, and some of the shit he does send to me, I'm like, you really blocked that word out? Like, all right, but I feel like he picks and chooses his, always room for improvement.
Yeah. But, so you feel like your stories just like put people in compromising positions, or
not even? I think sometimes I might just say some wild shit. Like one of our earlier episodes, I compared my oldest son to Hitler. Even though I feel like I explained it correctly, he was just like, this might be a problem. And I'm like, but just follow me logically.
I got to hear this explanation, bro. I'm not deleting
All right,
shit,
so
bro.
Hitler, obviously, I don't agree with Hitler, right?
I'm glad we got that off.
But the one thing I will say about Hitler was...
Yo, I can see why. You sound like Kanye, bro.
Now look.
Go ahead.
Okay, would you agree that he was an effective leader? Not that he led you to do the right things necessarily, but he was effective in getting people
to do what he wanted?
Most
definitely, yes.
That's the only attribute that I tied
but
to
why Hitler?
Because
I'm not saying there's better options.
it's a wild thing to say. But it also but because it puts you when you say Hitler, you go all the way over here like, yo, what?
Yeah.
But then when I say what you mean, like, okay, that makes sense. And so it kind of gets you in this emotional state where you're thrown over here, but then you're brought back like, okay, he's not crazy. But he might have said some crazy shit, which might be a clip for you, right? And you're like, oh, I need to hear what the fuck he means by that. And then when you hear, you're like, okay, I guess like that makes sense.
My question would only be like, there's so many other great leaders, but then again, if you want to like say like people,
there's other great leaders,
get other people to do shit for them. You think like cults, so like at
right, but like, that's what I also meant.
You're picking like the prime rib of cults.
But that's kind of what I was relating it to. I was like, my son, like he can lead a bunch of people, but he be leading them to some bullshit. Like he be leading them astray. Like you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Stop following him. Please do something right. But he's like, nah, we getting in trouble today. That's what I meant.
All right.
But he was just like, oh, fuck, no, we getting canceled. I'm like, calm down and listen to what I'm saying. Yeah, if it works for clickbait, then sure, fuck it, why not?
But the way you started, for sure.
But that's good podding, ain't it?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
I bet you if you clip it, people be like, all right, I might be in on this one. Where's the timestamp on this shit?
Yeah, the beginning was wild of that, but... I get what you're saying, but I feel like there's better examples.
There might have been, but I also...
But for potting, 100%, that's a good one.
There's other examples, but I also talk off, like, even right now, I talk off the top of my head most of the time. Like, he has a bunch of notes in his phone that we shared. I rarely look at them. So he'd be like, all right, we doing this. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. Now, maybe in certain aspects, if I looked at the notes before, maybe the show would be a little better in certain topics if I thought on it a little bit more,
or at least researched.
Depending on what we're talking about, but for the most part, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty comfortable talking off top of head the shit that we be talking about. And yeah, I should, I need to do a little bit more in putting into the show so we can turn up a little bit more.
Do you follow like pop culture? Like what I'm leading to is that dude whose girl died. DC Young Fly?
Yeah.
And you heard about what? Sorry, Azalea Banks said?
Yeah.
That bitch is wild, bro.
I've
never liked her.
Yeah, but if she was like a podcaster,
that would be content.
It would be a lot. And even if half of the views are hate views, she would still be getting numbers. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So
I actually had a girl on here once. Not that I particularly found her interesting, but I knew a lot of people didn't like her.
Right.
So I had her just because I knew it would like. And sure enough, like
she was
gonna work like a fucking charm, like a lot of fucking views. But because people, not because they want to care about her, they just don't like her. So they want to hear what she's gonna say.
Let me get fired up. Let me get, because people want to be outraged at something.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a little bit. It's like, I wake up, what are we gonna be mad at today? Even if it's not gonna be long term.
Yeah.
Hence the cancel culture.
Does he tell you when people tell him anything about you?
About me?
Yeah. Or does he try to protect you? Like, nah, everybody loves you, Legs.
I can't think of any incidents where someone's had like a crazy problem over me.
A couple people that remember from that night we went at the podcast meetup.
Yeah.
A couple people knew that I was gonna do one with you guys the first time, and they asked me, "Yo, how'd it go?" Because they thought you were gonna like turn up with how you were acting that day, and I was like, nah, man, they're actually cool as fuck, man. Like, I think we just got like a specific version of them. Or more mainly you know what I'm saying? And they thought you were gonna come here and just like pop off, and I was like, nah, he's actually cool peeps, man.
It depends on the topics. It depends on, I guess my mood. Sometimes I guess maybe even the time of day. Like our last episode, I'm not particularly proud of because normally we record in the morning, right?
The one you did here?
No, I'm talking about like my current episode for this week. We record on Sunday, but usually we go in the morning. So sometimes if there's like a late morning thing where we have to go in the afternoon, it kind of throws my energy off. And so I wasn't.
Some shit drains it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like I was completely on for this newest episode. So if that is the case for anybody who's listening, my apologies. So hopefully I can make it up here with you. But yeah, I mean, it really depends. I mean, we had a bunch of different people. If it's more like it was just 3 of us here, I guess the more people, like the bigger the group, the more I might be more like ready to pop off. You know what I mean? Just to kind of like let everybody know I'm here.
Let everybody in a room?
Yeah, it depends.
Oh, okay.
I can be the most laid back, quiet, shy dude, or I can pop off like I pop off on that night. And it just depends on the setting.
What threw me off about your last one, because of the whole dude, the guy that shot and killed the girl, his girlfriend's, fuck's his name, dude? The football player who was
Steve McNair?
No. Rest in peace. No, the recent guy that shot his girlfriend's brother's friend.
Oh, from this past episode.
Yeah, from this last one.
Yeah.
You were like, I don't know.
I said something wild?
No, you. On contrary, you were like, I feel like that was excessive, and I was like, oh, now he doesn't want to shoot people. Early before, if you date his girl, you keep popping off and shit.
Oh no, for sure. No, yeah. But that was a sister. That was a family thing. I just told you about my family.
Yeah.
Family's like, hey, I was like, do I really gotta air his shit out? But no, yeah.
No, I thought you were saying.
No, yeah, no. If you
were the boyfriend, you wouldn't have shot him up.
Sound like the boyfriend was defending himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I took it as like if you were in his position.
No, but I also said that it sounds excessive. But if there's a group of people, I can easily see getting to 37 rounds, especially if you don't know how to shoot.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I was fine with that.
He's probably like just.
But for my girl, no, I'm airing everybody. Yeah, fuck all that shit. I'm not even gonna try to aim. I'm just airing. How big is this drum? Brat.
Somebody getting hit tonight.
Yeah, I saw. Shit. What was that dude's name? Chris Pratt. I saw something he said today that dads fantasize about what they would do to people who harm their kids, and I was like
mainly daughters, no?
I don't know. I didn't look in. I just saw the headline. I was like, I kind of feel that. Sometimes you just feel like aggressive. You're like, I wish that motherfucker would touch my kid so I could whoop his ass, or get the prison shank on him.
It is crazy when you watch parents who don't, like in public. Like, you kind of like, oh, if it were me, you don't know how they are.
Yeah, nah, but a lot of those people also, when the light turn on, they ain't gonna be about that life.
Yeah,
it's all situational. But I just found it interesting. Sometimes I get the urge to turn up, but so gotta channel it.
Have you ever felt like punching another kid because they hit your kid?
I want to punch my kids all the time,
especially little Hitler.
All the time. Nah, yeah, fuck these kids. I mean, that's the main thing. That's the hashtag of my life.
You fuck these kids?
Yeah,
that's funny, man.
Having kids was, I never, you grow up, literature and in school, and it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Like that shit was like, oh, they trying to be like poetic. When you become a dad, you're like, that shit make total sense to me. This is the best time of my life, but fuck. Y'all bring out the worst in me sometimes, and I don't get it.
When we pulled up to the airport, these fucking charity or people that want donations, he came up. I had heard him as we were walking by. He was like, "You guys want to donate for the kids?" And he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, you look like you like kids." And the first thing I said, I was like, "Man, fuck these kids."
Yeah.
And he's like, "If that's how you feel," I was like, "Yeah." Don't ask me for money. I'm here to spend money, bro.
I'm getting to that point, bro.
I'll go for it, man.
That's what happens, man. Fucking when you said 8 p.m., I was like, I'm gonna try to get through the whole episode, but I'm like a close to a gallon a day guy.
Oh yeah.
And so the later in the day it gets, the more often I gotta pee. So when you said 8 p.m., I was like, fuck.
I make the mistake sometimes before I go to bed. I'll chug a little thing of water. And I know in the middle of the night, that's just going to wake me up and shit.
That'd be the worst feeling, too. Yeah. Especially if you wake up like 45 minutes before you're supposed to get up anyway. And you're like, I'm going to keep laying, but like, damn, I can't be really comfortable because my bladder's telling me to get up real quick. And then you get up and you pee and then you lay down and it don't feel the same.
Yeah. I trip out when I wake up like at 3 a.m., the witching hour type shit. Not that I even believe in that, but it's just like, man.
The witching hour?
What kind of spirit? You never heard that shit? The 3 a.m. is a witching hour. So if you randomly wake up at 3 a.m., it's like...
You got the spell on you?
Huh?
It means you got the spell on you?
Nah, it's like the bad spirits are up at that time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I did a few night shifts at 7-Eleven, so I know the 3 a.m. spirits that be around.
Yeah, those are different though.
Yeah, but I don't know about
those just want money and crack.
Yeah, I don't know about inside the home, but yeah.
Yeah,
I prefer to work with 3 a.m. because I'm like, oh, cool. I still got some hours left. I can actually get back to sleep.
Oh, okay. I get into like my head because we like watching like the horror movies, like the whole Exorcist and Conjuring, and it's like the 3 a.m. is like it's like a prominent number.
Yeah, I'm not big into horror movies. Mostly because the only movie I feel like they're not scary. They just focus on like suspense and like they try to make the background music make you jump, but the actual stuff isn't really that scary. The only movie that's ever scared me, like for real, is The Shining.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't find that one.
I was also 4.
Oh,
so that helps. But I've watched it as a grown man to make sure, like, yep, that
still got you.
Trauma, whatever you want to call it, it's still there within me.
Damn. I think shit that can be real.
Yeah,
like,
I've enjoyed it better. Like when Paranormal Activity was brand new, especially because it was like in Carlsbad or whatever, it took place here. I was like, oh, this seems a little more realistic
than I wanted it to be.
So it made it a little creepier than normal, even if it wasn't like overly scary. But then like all this other shit, I don't know if it's The Conjuring or because I kind of gave up on all that shit. But one of them, it might have been The Conjuring. I was like, oh, this movie's really good. And then at the end, it just totally lost me. I was like, oh, this shit's fucking stupid.
I don't know if it was Conjuring. I think The Conjuring. Yeah, you're probably right. Because in the end, was kind of like
it was one of those franchises where I watched one of them and I'm like, this ain't bad. And then the last 15, 20 minutes of it
got ridiculous.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder which one it was. But yeah, like, did you see the movie Megan, the AI doll?
No, not like I said. I gave up on that shit. My wife hates that type of shit, so I'm not gonna just watch that shit alone just to do it because it's like it's probably gonna be stupid.
Well, it's about an AI doll.
No, yeah, I remember like the previews. Okay, and shit, so it's like I get it.
My girl wanted to watch it. I was like, this is like terrifying. She's like, it's not that scary. It's like it's not the movie that's terrifying. Is that this actually could?
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen.
That's gonna happen, bro. That's gonna happen. That's scary that we're watching.
You got the the main AI dude from Google stepping down just to be like, hey, y'all, I think we should chill.
We need to chill out. It's too late.
It's crazy, man. Terminator 2 was what, 1993?
And that's like low key.
And it's like, it told us, hey, this was going to happen once you get this technology introduced. And we still were like, so? And they fucking did it anyway.
Nah, we're smarter than that. We'll figure it out.
You know, this is I'm on this this is the last decade anyway. Nothing really matters.
Nah, that's it.
It's the last decade.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that. I feel like it's the
you ain't seen the sun since like April, right?
Well, I was in Texas, so.
Oh, well, I mean, like out here.
Yeah.
Like I think it went all of May with like no sun.
It makes an appearance here and there.
Our appearance is strong, but like this summer about to be hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Hotter than ever.
The sun was like, I'll let y'all chill out.
And I was just telling somebody the other day, I was like, yo, when I was young, I could probably count on my hand how many times I ever felt triple digits.
Yeah.
And now that shit's like a 5 to 6 week standard in the summer.
Yeah. It's just wild as fuck.
And y'all just don't care. I can only do so much, man.
It's not that, I don't think it's that people, well, yeah, no, people don't care. But also one of those things like it's completely out of our hands.
But that's the thinking that
got us here.
Yeah. It's like, yo,
that's the thing.
We don't gotta cut everything all cold turkey, but if everybody cuts a little bit and everybody does a little bit of moderation, that's gonna be a big thing. Now, obviously, I know that's a big ask. We
can't even agree on fucking.
No, I understand it's a big ask, but fuck, when it's something that affects us all. I mean, we did see that with COVID, where people were just like, "Fuck that." They didn't care. They didn't care then, and I guess it's different because this is kind of like a slow burn, like double entendre. But yeah, we getting the fuck out of here pretty soon. Yeah. Like I feel like we might get out of here. Maybe my kids might get out of here kind of uncomfortable, but man, fucking grandkids better love them while they're young, because I don't know if they're gonna get everything the way we got it. You know what I mean?
I think our generation was like the perfect one.
Oh, we got
to experience so many different
everything. Like, I talked about this a couple
advantages in technology and music and everything.
Every time.
Yeah,
man. We got a little bit of everything. We got a little bit of before, a little bit of after. So when it comes to like survival of the fittest, we can adapt a little bit better than others.
Yeah. Like we know what it's like to not have cell phones.
Like we are the perfect balance of working smart and hard.
Yeah.
Where the generation after only wants to work smart and be as lazy as possible. And the generation before
all they do
just wants to be stupid and just like, if I work hard enough, then it's fine. But hey, if there's a shortcut that makes sense, no, fuck that. That's the easy way out. Like, no. Yeah. What are you doing?
We're like in that perfect little...
Yeah.
People don't understand it. They want to call us like wise, but it's like, bro, you wouldn't even know what to do without your cell phone, where we grew up like that.
Yeah, something like when I see people that are like the GPS like needed for the phone.
I remember fucking MapQuest. I remember
not even MapQuest. I just feel like
Thomas Guide.
I always paid attention when I was little. So when it came time to drive, it's like I knew where a lot of streets and stuff were anyway. So if you told me, oh, I live over here, I'm like, all right, cool. I can get there. Yeah, eventually I needed MapQuest a little bit for stuff like that. But when it came around like your Southeast area, and shit like that, and there was
all
like
you need is like a major
landmark.
A landmark.
Yeah, I live by the lemon. Yeah. All right, I'm there.
Got you. I know exactly where that is.
Or I live by fucking whatchamacallit. But yeah, nowadays, kids fucking like, you ever seen that episode of The Office where they got the GPS on
and he runs
it's
into
telling
the water?
it tells him to turn right, but it's like a 200-foot like delay or whatever, so he turns into the lake and he's like, what are you doing? It's telling me to turn. Of course it knows.
He's like, no, it's telling you to merge.
Whole fucking rental car into the fucking lake.
Yeah.
That's what these kids are. That's what I see when I see the kids that try to tell time on the regular clocks and they can't do it.
Like on the...
Like not digital, but like
analog?
Yeah, they can't do it. One of these kids said it's 1270. Like, does that even make sense? He said that shit with no thought. He's like 1270.
With gusto, 1270. Yeah.
Me in trouble, man.
You better hope your watch works forever and shit. Yeah, nah, I don't know, man. Good luck to these. Like you said, man, it's going to be not the next generation, but the one after that. They in trouble. Or it's going to be the opposite. They figure it out, which I doubt.
No, the thing is, there's going to be a section of people that do the thing is, the gap between the haves, the have-nots, the knows and not in the knows is going to get so much wider, especially with the spread of all this misinformation, that there's going to be people up here that are like, why are you guys so fucking stupid? And the other people are just like, well, my aunt posted this article on Facebook that, once it gets hotter, I don't be sick no more. And it's like, all right, cool, you do that.
So you're just saying like natural selection?
Some of it's going to be like that, but that's kind of hard to say with economical stuff, because some people that have that survival instinct that just don't have the opportunities
are poorer than the other one.
They're just poor, right? Yeah. And they don't have the same opportunities to be. And what we're seeing now is, doesn't matter where you live. Like, we live in quote unquote the greatest city ever. Weather-wise, we're pretty consistent, this and that. But even us, the extremes are going to get more extreme. So when it is hot, it's going to be hotter than it's ever been. When it's cold, it's colder than we've ever felt.
Earthquake.
And while that's like a thing in San Diego for those who don't know any better, when you go to these other places that got 4 seasons, their shit is like, yo, when it's snowing, it's fucking snowing. And when it's hot, it's fucking like 120. And it's so extreme that certain places are just going to be inhabitable and they're going to be pushed out. Like, humans can't live here no more. There's not an HVAC strong enough to just combat this type of shit. And then you're going to start moving in these other areas, and then eventually whole sections of the globe are just going to be like, and it might not be in North America. It's going to start in a different part of the world, but eventually it's like, yo, people can't live here. Adaptation and evolution's a thing, but when it's happening that rapidly, people aren't going to be able to get there quick enough before they just die out. And then that's where it's like, all right, we're at the point where, like, the dinosaurs, that was an act of God. We're just pissing Mother Nature off, and she's like, all right, I got to get y'all out of here.
Yeah, y'all fucking bugging.
Yeah, I'm sick of y'all.
That's what I think COVID was. I think Mother was like, I need to clear out some of y'all motherfuckers. Y'all taking up too much space.
Like, there's that whole conspiracy theory of like the government with population control. And while I can understand I don't believe it, but I also understand logically, like, I don't know if I'm totally against that. We gotta get some of these motherfuckers out of here, dog. Now, I think a lot of the people that would go probably don't deserve it, but there's certain people that probably wouldn't go. But I'm like, hey, if there was a pot,
we could trade.
Yeah, if we could do a draft, there's a section of people. I'm like,
I'll give you 4 of these. Just give me that one.
That's probably how you felt about the bully in your apartments. Like, hey, we ain't missing them, right? Like, they're not really. They're not really contributing the way we need them to.
Yeah.
And
there was really just
there's only so many resources to go around.
Yeah, 100%. I really thought that's what COVID was, whether if it was man-made or naturally made or whatever. I thought it was like, the earth is just sick of us, man, and it's going to clear out who, unfortunately, some people didn't, like, you feel bad because some people lost their loved ones, but the earth is like, to me, none of you matter, so I'm just going to randomly.
As like one of the resident earthmen of the people, like, that's who I am. Like, climate's a big thing for me, so it's something that is constantly on my mind. I recycle properly, I compost, I run my appliances between midnight and noon. A lot of the moves I make are like very conscious. And so because I'm kind of over the top with it or above average, I do get kind of frustrated with the average person. Even I'm like, all right, maybe they just don't know or maybe whatever. But it's like, I kind of look at it like, damn, like I did I go to sleep at night like, hey, you know what? I do everything I can. And that's why I'm like, yo, it's the last decade. It is what it is. I'm not going to change how I move. I'm going to still do my part. But I know as a single individual, I ain't doing shit. But then part of me, like the cynical part's like, we deserve this shit. Because y'all act the way y'all act. And y'all don't listen to nobody. Yeah, you know what? Even though I gotta go too, we deserve that shit.
That's true. That's how I feel about that in general, man. Like, we deserve it. I saw somebody send me a meme and they're like, this is you. It's like, when bad shit happens to me, I just be like, karma, and then keep going about my day. And that's exactly how I move, man. Whenever shit goes around, I'm like, fuck it. I probably deserve that. I'm gonna keep pushing though.
I mean, that's a good way to look at it, I guess. Because you're not too hung up on the negative thing that just happened. You're just like, hey, I deserved it. Now let me go forward and try to be a little better.
Even if I didn't, it's just like,
that's great.
I'm going to take this L and try to, make the rest of the day be a W.
Learning how to eat your L's, if everybody could do that, it would take them so much further in life. It's a hard thing to do, don't get me wrong, but if you look at each L as, you kind of look at it as like just a thing that happened and you just push it out of your mind. And that's something that I don't think the average person can do, but it's great for your mental.
Yeah.
But going a step further, if you can take that L and then dissect it, not to dwell on it, but to just learn from it and then take from it what you need. So it's not really an L, it's more of a learning experience, and then keep it pushing.
Well, I don't take it as, when I say L, I never mean loss. I mean lesson.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah. So to me, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. Because I'm sure like there's a reason why I learned it. Like that had to happen for me to understand something that's going to come up. That's how I look at these L's.
You ready to get married?
I better be after fucking 9 years.
That's a hard thing to get to. And then, a lot of people don't ever get to that point.
Yeah, I get frustrated with people when you try to tell them like everything happens for a reason. They hate that. Like
because
in
it's
the
cliche.
Moment,
it's a cliche statement. If you explain it further and use different language, maybe they can get there.
But also the emotion of whatever's happening at that exact moment. You tell them you come here with like some Instagram fucking quote.
Oh no, for sure.
They don't want to hear that shit.
Well, you know why? Because they're in the moment. And when you say the reason, that involves time and hindsight. And obviously they're not there yet. And it's going to take a minute to get there. And they ain't trying to hear that shit. So you got to save that cliche statement for when they're past it. And then the good part, like, hey, remember that? Now everything happens for a reason. And then they won't look at it as such a cliche no more. They'll be like, hey, you know what? I totally get that now.
You can't just hit them like, boom, tragic moment. You're like, hey.
At the moment.
Everything happens for.
In the moment, like, you're like, what else can I do right now? I'm just trying to give you
peace,
positive energy. Yeah. And that's just kind of what comes out. It just, in the moment, you got to realize, like, no matter what I say to this person, it's probably not going to work. Yeah. But let me say it just so I know I said it. So in the future, I'm gonna be like, hey, remember I said that shit?
Then they look at you like, shut the fuck up. You're like, you right, you got it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. All right, my bad. We ain't there yet.
I'll remind you next week.
We ain't there yet. Hopefully I'm wrong, but right. See me when you see me.
Shit. Well, let's wrap it up, Legs. Hit them up. Just Lex on Instagram.
619.
Oh, my bad.
I think there's an underscore 2 under there.
Just Lex 619 underscores somewhere in between. Part of the You Wasn't Outside podcast.
I only check my Instagram once a day, so if I'm slow to respond, it's because my notifications aren't on. If you,
I was like, oh, Lex is too good for this convo.
No, not at all. Especially if you say something like negative towards Carl, I'm probably gonna like that shit. Probably put the exclamation point.
Yeah, y'all like facts.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad somebody see. Like when people get on us on the group page and they'll be like, Carl tripping, blah blah blah. I'm like, that's how I know. Like, all right, I know I'm not tripping.
It's not you.
Like I know, like everybody has their own perspective, but I'd like to think when I'm the most objective and like logical, I would like to think the majority of people might stand with me, assuming I'm confident in what I'm saying and I know what I'm talking about. And so when I get that validation, I'm like, all right, cool.
I know I ain't bugging.
So anytime we have the We the People segment, please participate, because that's usually when I shine the most. Because that's usually when he says some wild shit. I'm like, come on, dog.
Well, I appreciate you coming out, Legs. Cool little convo, man. We yelled at each other for a little bit about Ice Cube because he's trash, but at the end of the day, you agreed. We'll just leave it at that. You know what I'm saying?
No, we're not gonna say I agreed. All
right, everybody.
listen to the earlier part. Don't.
I'm gonna cut.
All right, y'all. Holla at me.
Peace.
Yeah, you looking for me, you can find me at the spot. Chopping it up with Jonah, we talking about what's hot on the block. Up in Dago, man, we bumping. Keeping it confidential, you know this how we coming, we in front. Looking for that real, better tune in and stick by. Put on for the city every time that I dip by. Getting to that gritty every time that we sit down. Promise you it's real every time that I get round. Come on. Been in the field playing,